Welcome to the replay of Melbourne versus Hawthorn from the MCG. Round 1 action right here on Fox Footy.
And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the MCG. Round 1 action continues here. The big game between Melbourne and Hawthorn. And if that is your first look at the MCG, it may come as somewhat of a shock. That is the Ponsford stand gone. That is not the Ponsford stand. In actual fact, that is absolutely gone. And it has played havoc already on two occasions, Friday night and Saturday, with the players kicking for goal. Remains to be seen, Jared Healy, whether it continues this afternoon. It's a pretty fine day, not much breeze about.
No, Gary, but it is expected to stiffen up. It's currently about 20 kilometres an hour, but with a sea breeze getting in behind it, it's going to be, at times, I think, difficult for players, but we will find out soon enough as Shane Crawford leads the mighty Hawks onto the ground for the first time in 2003. A season, Gary, they're trying to make amends for a poor showing last year.
It was poor by anyone's standards. They were 10th on the ladder. They had 11 wins and 11 losses, and much more was expected of this Hawthorn side. They've got enough talent that demands of playing finals. Whether or not they do remains to be seen. They kicked off round 1 last year at the same place against the same opposition and lost by 26 points. The Melbourne Footy Club there, of course, finished 6th last season with 13 wins and 11 losses. They've added some experience. They've lost one big name, of course, in Shane Woden. But it'll be intriguing to see just how both these teams start. One is close to full strength, you'd say. Another one has got some pretty big names missing. And I speak, of course, of Hawthorn. And it's a pretty impressive list, Jared, when you run through it. They'll need Jonathan Hay to step up. He's had a disappointing season last year.
Yes, they will, Gary. You have a look at that back line, and it's almost back to its best. Hay and Rawlings, great key position players. Smith back in town, the All-Australian of 2 years ago. Graham, Bateman and Loney. An impressive defensive area, but you look forward, and they're missing the names of Holland, Barker and Thompson. Three big guns, and they're going to be difficult to replace. No Vandenberg and no Chick, of course, from the midfield. Two big names. Chick, of course, gone to the West Coast Eagles. So lots of holes in this side, and they're going to have to do pretty well if they do topple the Demons. The big name that is there, though, is Spider Everett, the only man playing his first game for the Hawks, and his form in the Wizard Cup was most impressive.
Yeah, it was indeed. I mean, I think he's one of the best tap ruckmen in the competition, and well, the change of scenery, it just gives you a bit of a rocket. They'd say he's committed himself and worked really hard and been influenced by some of the hard trainers down there, and that's when he's at his best.
Yes, when he's running forward, kicking goals, it reminds you of his devastating days at the Saints, and there he is on the ground, but he'll be up against a couple of pretty impressive ruckman, one an older type in Jeff White for the Demons, and another kid making his debut, Will Spider Everett. So take us through this Demon outfit, Gaddy.
There are some new names there, Jared, that you speak of. Ryan Ferguson at centre-half back from Frankston. He's a good pickup, played well in the Wizard Cup. Heffernan, we know a lot about, a premiership player from the Essendon Footy Club. Jamar was the name that you mentioned or alluded to earlier. He will allow Jeff White to spend some time up forward. It's got a pretty solid look about it. I think their midfield is their strength. And, of course, David Neitz is the Coleman medalist, the reigning Coleman medalist. And I think the firepower might get him across the line.
They do look a little bit strong to me, Gary. A very hardened unit. In fact, I think Melbourne on the cusp of a very successful era.
Chris Heffernan is the big pickup, of course, the big addition, and there he is on screen. We wear the number 1 Guernsey, was traded by the Bombers for draft selection number 10. We know they're under some salary cap pressure, but I think of all the players that they left the Bombers, he might be the one that they rue down the track. But he's a quality player. We'll give them good leadership, and they will need it. We will take a break after the break. The bounce of the ball for the big game, Hawthorn versus Melbourne at the MCG on Sunday Football.
Here we go. Season 2003 for these two sides, Melbourne and Hawthorn. Everett, new player down at the Hawks, wins the first knockout. Good sign here for the Hawks as they immediately go forward. Tallis put the head over the ball, and Williams wasn't backing off, was he?
No, and there's a lot of pent-up emotion. You just got to be careful early, don't give silly frees.
Loney, driving ball in the forward 50, Campbell Brown. Had a sensational year last year for the Hawks, and he'll line up for their first shot at goal.
And Campbell Brown's one of those players that could jump up and fill the spot, the gaping hole left by Barker and Holland, etc., because he's a kid that can play taller than his actual size. He's very strong overhead, and he lines up with a shot at goal. And then some blood spilled early, Edward.
Yes, sir. We've already got a change on the interchange bench coming on at the moment. Is McCabe straight on the ground. So we'll get some details of the injury down there at the moment to Raiden Tellis, who stuck his head over that ball, as Brian said, and got it knocked off by the looks of it.
Campbell Brown started in the goal square with Jade Rawlings, which is a bit of a surprise out of the goal square for the Hawks.
A little bit of right to left about this kick with the Southerly coming in here at the MCG. And Campbell Brown was never ever going to kick that goal because he started it on the wrong side. In fact, he's kicked it out of bounds on the full.
Well, you've got to take your chances. We've seen in the past couple of games here at the MCG that the kicking for goal has been less than impressive, and particularly up the punt road into the ground, you have to take chances like that.
So Tellis is getting a bit of work onto his head. It's just a little split under the hairline above his left eye. In the meantime, out comes out Ferguson. First kick in football for Ryan Ferguson, and you liked him, the boy from Frankston, Gary, in the Wizard Cup campaign.
Yeah, a lot to like about him, Eddie. He just kept his feet, stayed in the contest, and he'd nice to get his hands on it early in the game.
21-year-old gives it to a fellow Frankston boy in Jeff White. Chipping forward, Demons just content to hold on, and fantastic to see this boy playing. Stephen Armstrong, who was injured in the Bali bombing. Congratulations to Stephen on being able to get over all the injuries. Free kick going to Melbourne again, this time to Brad Miller.
Thought he'd start in the back half, but has lined up across half forward.
Ooh, here comes a big turnover. Bizzle got down on his haunches and did it well. The handball comes through. Over the top it goes now to Godfrey. He's caught, says the Hawthorn players. Umpire says play on. Out it goes towards Wheatley at half-forward flank. Piccioni all over the top of him. He gets the handball inside 50 for Melbourne's first forward foray of the season, but it's repelled almost by Bateman. Spider Everett and Chance Bateman working beautifully as Chance Bateman kicks it up towards the half-forward flank position, and Barlow's got it.
Barlow, have a look at the scon on that for season 2003. Gets the ball out wide. Here they go, the Hawks, centering kick. High ball, Rawlings has marked, strong in the air.
Well, he was one of the players that Hawthorn have turned to, Jared, in the absence of Holland and Barker that you've mentioned previously. A noted fullback and halfback as the work continues on the bench on Raiden Tellis. He'll be back shortly. Let's have a look at just how that occurred. This was in the first 10 seconds of the game. Accidental, of course, but courageous. And this is an interesting move, Rawlings up forward.
Jade Rawlings spent most of his year down back when he wasn't injured. Kick on its way at the punt road end, and he's nailed it.
Well, up the other end of the ground, Ben Dixon's playing back pocket or half back, and it's almost the change that's happened. His Rawlings gone forward, Dixon's lined up on Brad Miller, which he's giving away a fair bit of height, but he's only a young fellow, and from a coaching point of view, to take a punt like that, Jared, and have it come off early, it would be a nice feeling for Peter Schwab.
It was a good turnover also by their defence. Chance Bateman involved across that half-back line. They wrapped Wheatley up, and they've been hard at it early, Hawthorn. It's a good start.
Centre bounce. Spider got the first tap. We'll give that one a line ball. Good play by Rees, who was very impressive last season. He thumps it inside 50 for the Hawthorn side. Getting back there for the Melbourne team is picked up by Walsh. Gets the handball at the Ward. Ward now clears to the members' side of the ground. A bad bounce beats Bruce. Wheatley showing plenty of pace. Gets away from Leckers. That was good play up the wing position. And already, boys, kicking up to that empty stand end. Hasn't been pretty, has it?
Where does that handle?
Yeah, there was nothing to do with the wind there. Maybe it was Robertson was a bit windy himself. In the back there, free kick should go to Cox. Didn't get it. Play on, says the umpire. Here's a chance for Bruce again. Gets the handball. Robertson this time thumps it onto the boot. Up towards the half-forward flank position. Armstrong was being held short. And we'll get the free kick against Bateman, and Armstrong will take it on half-forward flank. 60 metres out from goal. Probably two kicks at this end of the ground these days.
Used his body well then, Armstrong.
Goes to the forward pocket, looking for and almost finding his teammate there in Green. Got the handball out there. Good play. Leckers over the top. Picked up by Graham for the Hawthorn side. Looking for the boundary. Finds it. We'll have a throw in front of the Smokers stand. Michael Roberts.
Yes, right where the ball's gone out. Very difficult conditions there because the ball will carry sometimes out the back when it's kicked to the square or falls short, and both coaches have looked at that before the game, but it is powering down the middle.
Everett and Jamar in the ruck contest. Everett wins it down the left-hand palm. Not successful to the teammate. Leckers shoveled it out in a throwing motion, not seen by the umpire Crawford. Bateman combining. Armstrong almost went for the trip there. Ball in the centre half foot. Big leap Rawlings. Had it covered in front. Liam Challey and will earn himself a free kick.
Been hard at it early, the Hawks. Put a lot of pressure on all over the ground.
Umpire said he ran off the mark, so he calls play on immediately. Skills good through the midfield. Bizzle, isn't he an important player for the Demons in defence? Especially with the youth that is back there early in this season. Miller. Kick inside 50. Didn't really attack it, Green. Neitz may have got in his way. Lekis. Control of the ball, the Hawks out of defence.
And running is the captain, Crawford. His kick was a beauty towards Hodge in the middle of the ground. Blind turn out of trouble. There's beautiful football. It sits for Williams now. If he can pick it up, he can have a shot at the goal. He walks one way, goes the other, gives it off, and they've mucked it up, the Hawks. They should have scored out of that one. White out to centre wing, and Heffernan, the recruit from Essendon, who played for Australia 2 years ago, Gary Lyon, in international rules, will take his first possession for the Melbourne side. Working up now is Williams up towards... They kept it beautifully. There was good play there by the Melbourne side as Bruce handballs in board. They're just mucking up at half forward at the moment. Miller again gets it out. He's had plenty of it early on. So too Armstrong. Piccioni gets it out for the Hawks. Whelan, bang, straight through. Likes the hard physical stuff. And there's plenty of it this afternoon so far. Umpire put out a free kick though. And we'll go the way of Luke Williams for the Melbourne side on centre wing. And a bit of a box on too.
Tell you what, I don't know whether we had Whelan and Hodge, but that would be worth having a look at, boys.
Well, there's a bit going on as Campbell Brown was getting into it as well with Ward. Emergency umpire, Brian, your favourite person on the ground. Whistling Harmony is out there to make sure there's harmony happening all around the world.
Quick at it, Ed, they are. They're out there before it even happens. It's incredible. Ball ground level. Demons. Uze! Nails it for the Demons first of the day.
Lightning handball. A lightning handball set up that goal, and the Demons have responded. Like Green up in the forward line, Gary, I think he was robbed of a goal only a little while ago, but Matthew Whelan, a pretty handy inclusion into the middle. He has given them a little bit of bit of this.
Keep an eye on the left of screen. This was not too bad at all, boys. Don't be surprised if there's a blood rule, I'm telling you right now. And well,
holding the jumper forearms.
Yeah, your specialty, Brian, in your day, but bit of class always comes out. Doesn't matter if there's a grandstand or not when you got class like Uze.
So, scores level here. Pretty good game so far. Plenty of fire as the Hawks go forward through Reese. Up towards centre-half forward position. Umpire calls play on. Fall of the ball. Piccioni kept his feet. Did it beautifully. It's built out to Loney. There's a beautiful left foot kick normally. That one was a shocker, though, and through for a point.
Yeah, there's a wasted opportunity. Loney on the left, so he's entitled to have a shot, but quite clearly he could have given the handball across. But the pressure by the Hawks is good, but they're making their own mistakes with the Clanger total of 8-2 at the present time. So
sorry, Joe. Travis Johnson just in front of us has just come on the ground. Brad Miller off.
Bizzle didn't see him coming off the bench, decides to go to the Great Southern stand side. It's a beautiful kick, thumped in by Big Spider Everett, or as they call him now, Peter Everett. Very much the family club down there at Hawthorn. As Loney takes it to the boundary line, we'll have a throw in.
And Neil Danaher just making sure that this game doesn't get away from Melbourne early. Liam Kelly is the player who's been dropping back into the hole to fill in the gap in front of Rawlings. They must be a little bit concerned about the breeze to do that.
Standard tactic, I think, at the G this year.
Beautiful tap from Spider. It has been intercepted, and Whelan runs away for the Melbourne Football Club. He has a bounce, make it 2. Runs to the centre of the green, he can keep going. He has 3. Good shepherding from Ward, so he makes it number 4. Runs the forward 60 now, kicks to the goal. Squirtle drops short. Everyone waiting for the bounce. It comes out to Neitz, his first shot at goal for 2003. The Coleman medalist likes it, and he has put it right through the middle. Second goal in a row for the Demons.
You mentioned Matthew Whelan, Jared, early in the piece. He is the player that has been earmarked to spend a hell of a lot more time in the middle of the ground. And he's got, I'll tell you what, he's got great leg speed. He is a mini version of Byron Pickett in that he loves hitting bodies and will cause some damage. And as you can see there, his run and carry was second to none. The kick wasn't great, but it created an opportunity. And interestingly, I'm not sure whether it's a tactic or it's just the way it is, they've scored goals from the right-hand forward pocket both sides.
The Demons, 2 in a row to get their season started in a very positive manner. Everett in the middle. Taken away, Heffernan on the left. And Joel Smith gets on the end of it at half-back, where he will spend a good portion of this season for the Hawks. Simon Cox having trouble gathering the ball, one of the best users in the AFL. Got dealt with it behind the ball. Piccioni moves it forward. Spider His first open field kick from 65, a drilling ball. Rawlings has got the sit. Watch out. Bizzle, athletic, behind.
Jeff White ran straight to the goal square and let Peter Everett run out there to pick up an easy kick. I'd like to see Ruckman play a bit more one-on-one in the middle of the field, particularly when Leoncelli is a loose man back there already.
You are the greatest critic of a ruckman.
They get a good ride, Ruckman. They don't often have to compete one out against a player apart from a ball up or a boundary throw-in.
Probably the most overrated players in the game, are they, Gary, or not?
Not overrated, but I'd like to see him be one out and contest more often, Brian.
Leoncelli put it out of bounds on the full.
Indeed he did. Crawford takes the man on the mark on, walks around, puts it into the hot spot, but Walsh courageous enough to go back with the fly.
So Walsh goes to the outer side. There's one of those overrated blokes, as Gary Lyon keeps saying.
Well, his opponent's about 60 metres away from him, Ned. They shake hands at the start of the game and the end.
Jeff White finds Armstrong. Armstrong looks up and there's not much. Very busy in the midfield at the moment. His third disposal is a good one as always.
Holding up pretty well, the Melbourne defence.
So no one on the mark. So Bruce just careers down the ground. That was slack play because he was able to pick out Robertson, hit him on the chest. And that was all because he was able to run an extra 15 metres. So he wouldn't have been able to kick to the forward 50 into that breeze if he didn't have any, if he had someone on the mark.
No doubt about that. And I think going into this breeze, some of the space that's going to be most dangerous is behind the players, because once you can turn a defender around, has his back to the footy, he's not aware that the ball's going to hold up, and it gives the forward that opportunity to read it quicker. And that's what happened then. Joel Smith turned his back, ball held up, Robertson read it, marked uncontested.
So very important to run through the lines in the midfield, carry the ball with you, as the boys
There
have
it
made
is.
notes throughout the day. And Brian Taylor has said again, as you saw that one fade, didn't even make the distance. So Hawthorn through Cox were able to clear.
No doubt that this absence of the stand is altering the dynamics here. Push.
That was slack play there.
It was Jared Bizzle. Finds his target in Bruce. Dangerous, lively. Short ball deep. Going to be impossible to kick goals from there, even if Green had marked the ball. Yes, there's no doubt that the dynamics will be altered at the city end of the ground for some time until the stands rise above the signs. And players are going to have to deal with it, especially in the middle of winter when you're getting prevailing southerly winds here at the MCG. Good look at the ground level. Armstrong, great awareness to get the ball outside. Bruce was pinned, still got rid of it. Johnston around the back. Beautifully skilled left foot kick, it got there. White marks, wants to take them on. Oh, nice whack there. Kick forward, has missed Neitz, and he infringes anyway. In fact, Neitz has got the free kick. Well, I thought Neitz had jumped into the back of the Hawthorn players there, but they may have said he got a push.
Well, this is an incredible, maybe a push there from Ben Dixon, Johnny Hay from behind.
Yeah. So Neitz will line up for goal. Melbourne have had 6 frees, the Hawks 1. Have a look at this. David Neitz.
Possible angle, this one, Barge, isn't it?
His set shot stats are very good. He's ranked 4th in the AFL for conversion.
Where does he need to aim here, Brian?
And he needs to aim, I would think, out to the left.
That'll come back through the goals.
And that is an incredibly hard kick hit from there. I don't think we're going to see too many goals converted from that position this year.
So we've got a dead pocket at the MCG. It's like being at the old under-11s again, isn't it? Kick to the dead pocket. Piccioni gets the ball going to Graham, on to Cox from defensive 50. Gets a bit of distance with the kick, but it was to no one in particular. Might come off though, no. Ward was very good there, held his ground, took the ball, passed it off to his teammate in Whelan, who goes wider still. And the mark's been taken by Adem Uze signed a new contract with Melbourne after being, believe it or not, heavily courted by the Carlton Football Club. So Melbourne would have been delighted to know that Carlton were over the salary cap when they gave him the extra money.
I think he might have made the right decision.
And a new father, of course. Congratulations through the week.
Just looking at the scoreboard, the Demons just 4 points up, but we're going to have to take wind advantage into it a lot more this year, and I reckon they'd be, on balance, 2 or 3 goals up.
Johnston does well, shrugs the tackle there. Have a look at that, through the needle, just the 15 metres. to this man, the most improved player in the competition last year, according to Gary Lyon. Cameron Bruce, he was very good in the International Rules Series, second in their best and fairest last year, and has not missed a game since 2000.
And been picked up by Nick Rees, so Hawthorn identify the fact that he's an important player, runner-up, as you say, the BNF. Now, if he doesn't kick this goal, I think the whole process of going forward is going to have to change, the attitude, and I'll expand in a minute.
Comes in.
Not a hope in the world. Well, not only, Ed, are they not making the distance, but the ball's got to be put out way to the left on that position, and they just can't get it out far enough and still cope with the bend in the ball.
Well, I'll put it this way. Tiger Woods can make amendments to his game depending on the weather and all the rest of it, and this is something that the boys are going to have to learn to play with. I was talking to Nathan Buckley last week before the game, and he said it'll be one of the most important aspects of this year will come into grips with the MCG. So let's see what happens here. Green. It's not easy being Green from that pocket.
The two goals that have been kicked at that end of the ground have been snapshots. Now, the mark inside 50 now becomes less important because it's just, as we've seen, it's very hard to kick goals. So don't hold the footy. Don't look for the perfect set play. Bang it in there, let it bobble around loose and try and snap a goal. That's going to have to be the tactic, that end of the ground.
Well, Cox is allowed to run 20 metres there, Brian, and kick straight to the middle of the ground.
He does indeed. Plenty of front and centre players lining up. Reed's one of those. Handball over the top by Rawlings was very nice. Leckers got a piece of it. Centering ball, they fly. Barlow chased it down. Plenty of speed at ground level. Dispossessed though. It was brilliant play on that occasion. Disputed ball in the middle. Picked up once again by Rees. Simon Cox tries to get it underground. Lecker's got a hand on it, so it won't be a mark. Feeds it off. Tallis can run the goal. Punt right in. Hawks have got their second.
Tallis has had an interesting and eventful first 20 minutes or so. Melbourne paid the price, Jared, for playing back off their men on that occasion. They all went back towards the square expecting the long bomb and left some players unmarked, close enough to go. Have a look at this. They thought Cox was going to go long. There's three of them lined up here. The Melbourne defenders were too far back. They were deep in the fence, waiting for a long kick, and it hurt them.
Yes, Tallis has drawn blood from the chin and on the scoreboard.
So the Hawks in front by a point, and Melbourne punished for wasting opportunities into the breeze. And we saw there that you can really transfer play easily. Hawthorn will get the free kick in the centre of the ground. Will be the captain. The star of the House of Bolger has got it. Clearance is 5-1. Hawthorn's way out of the centre. This is Loney at half-forward flank. Just chips it across. Hodge. Boys, just with the ball going to this punt road end, I'll go through with the question in a moment, as the kick was a beauty. And Barlow comes out and takes the mark. Brian, I'm not sure if you've been able to go down there, Gary or Jared, but does the effect of the wind dissipate the further you get down to the punt road end? In other words, do you get a longer kick from defensive 50 than you do from forward 50?
I'd only be guessing, Ed. I haven't been down, to be honest, but you would imagine it'd be stronger where the gap in the MCG grandstand
I've just noticed in the couple of games that I've seen this weekend that inside 50, it doesn't seem people are probably looking for a bit more help from the wind than just kicking it through. So we'll see how we go. Might be good on the transfer, but might not make too much of a difference. Barlow comes in, and as you can see there, that one didn't get anything extra. In fact, didn't even make the distance.
He's had plenty of touches, Jeff White, in his first quarter. 6 possessions already.
Liam Cheltley's kick was a beauty on this occasion. He kicked it out of bounds on the full last time. That one went straight down Armstrong's throat. He kicks it forward. Out comes Robertson. Did well. Had a second go at it. Did it beautifully. Armstrong kept running. Got the handball back to Robertson. They're waxing those two. Good smell by Mitchell. Going to ground there was Armstrong. It comes back to Mitchell of Hawthorn. He looks up and the loose man is on. As out comes Hodge and takes it.
The pass of Hodge to Barlow earlier was just first class. It was a beautiful kick of the footy.
There's another one.
Oh, look at that. That is inside, in the middle of 3 Melbourne defenders, that kick. And Luke Hodge is fast establishing himself as one of the best kicks of the football in the competition.
Yeah, that had the satellite navigation on it, that one.
Touch, Ed. Just a little bit of touch, and from a forward's point of view, they become your best friends, those fellas, Luke Hodge.
And that was the point I was making, Gary. It appears you can use your touch, whereas at the city end, it appears that it's the wind's just grabbing hold of it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we'll see from here. Leckers is usually a pretty good kick. The last shot of goal from Barlow, I think, expected the wind to do a little bit more than it could. So Leckers comes in, gives it a good kick and puts it right through the middle. so he went to school.
Well, a good 5 minutes by the Hawks. Only a few minutes ago they were trailing by 4 points and Melbourne were peppering the goals, but they've steadied and they've found a couple of avenues to go. And I think, Gary, they've just slowed it up a little bit coming into that forward line and played a little bit smarter, not long bombing, trying to find some targets.
There's plenty there at the moment because I don't think Melbourne are playing honest enough in their back half at the moment. They're playing too deep.
Well, the Demons have had a lot of the play last year. We all remember that they won just 8 of 24 first quarters, and they're doing their best to throw this one away as well. Ball in the middle of the ground. Lotes. McCabe in there. Crawford. Soccer. It was effective. Cleared the centre area. Loney in front there now. Chasing down. Godfrey. Ball to the boundary. And we'll have a boundary throw in on the northern half-forward line. Might have been Wheatley there. See Tony Liberatore, an acquisition for the Hawthorn Football Club this year, the former Bulldog champion, in amongst the Hawthorn bench there. And his experience will be very valuable down in that area. Armstrong. Tackle by Hodge again. Effective. Williams caught with the ball.
Just looking into the Melbourne defensive area, you've got Cox who's by himself and his player, Liam Challey, just drifting into the hole.
We've been playing 22.5 minutes in this opening term. Armstrong again hard at the ball. Hodge over the top of it. They dive in. We'll probably have another bounce here. Yes, we will.
Tackle count at the moment. Hawthorn 7, Melbourne 4. It would appear that I think Hawthorn have tackled better than that. They've been able to close Melbourne down. Their pressure's been pretty good early in the piece.
So inside 5 minutes left in this quarter. It's been a pretty good affair so far. McCabe just grabbed it. His prior opportunity these days. Doesn't have to just be the ruckman, I wouldn't have thought. And it comes. Cox did very well to Lekis around the corner. Gives his forwards a chance here. Up they go. Rawlings is a beautiful mark and he's taken a ripper. And he'll line up 35 metres out. And this is a vital goal to give Hawthorn the ascendancy heading towards quarter time.
It's pretty fair points you raised there. We'll have to get clarification on that. It was a dud bounce and Luke McCabe came in as a standby player and took the ball from the ball up. You'd imagine as soon as he was tackled it was a free kick, but they allowed it to play on.
So Rawlings comes in. Big kick. 7 points the margin. 13 points the margin. His second.
Without really knowing, you would expect this breeze or this situation here to be at least 2 goals to the punt rate end and maybe as much as 4. So that was why it was so important that Rawlings was able to convert. He's done his bit. He's kicked 2 goals going into the breeze. I wonder whether it'll get to the situation where Rawlings now may stay down that end of the ground and play the whole game in one half of the ground. I mean, really, it shapes that way, doesn't it?
3 consecutive goals for the Hawks to almost finish this first quarter of football. In the middle, Lotes, Mitchell, clearing ball. In front, though, Walsh was steady. The Demons' defence going to have to work hard today. Out wide, looking for and finding Wheatley, able to play on immediately. Some pressure from behind. Forced the kick to not go to the intended target. Free kick will be paid. It'll go Melbourne's way. McDonald. James McDonald in his 94th senior game of football. One of the more experienced players down at Melbourne now. Kick on its way. Russell Robertson. Normally good hands. Johnston, Armstrong on his non-preferred right side. Have a look at the kick. The lead by Neitz was good. He really should have held it. The umpire paid it. Robertson was away, but the umpire had paid the mark. Now we are going to get a really good look because Neitz with this kick will be kicking directly into the teeth of the much talked about breeze at that end of the ground.
Now what'll be interesting is if he accepts that he's not going to be able to kick this and looks for another option, or does he just blaze away?
Well, look at all the players now. They all assume he's going to kick. I mean, now is the time to try and sneak one in. But
maybe he will kick it, but if he doesn't, I think there's enough evidence to say you've got to go for something anything else.
You say which side should he aim? It really depends on which side they sort of draw the ball, whether he kicks it left to right or right to left, as to how the wind will affect it from there. Kick on its way, and it's blown it way off to the left-hand side. Now, David Neitz, there's one thing about his kicking. When he does kick, it is normally very, very straight.
It's just not as valuable. The mark inside 50 almost becomes redundant up that end.
So Leckers from defensive 50. This is where it is in your favour to get the quick breakaway. And Hawthorn have done it 3 times so far. Cox concedes a little bit of ground, but there's plenty on for the Hawthorn players now as Rawlings comes out, but the kick was offline and over the line and out of bounds. I think it was from Brown. And Melbourne will get the free kick at half-back flank. So the Demons decide to bring it out to the members' side this time. Walsh has it in the back pocket. Conceded 30 metres on that occasion, but it's opened up play. Williams to centre wing was a good kick, and McDonald takes it. McDonald now swings around with 2.5 minutes left on the clock in this quarter. Kicks up towards Bruce. It's punched away from him, though. Melbourne got another chance. Around the body is Heffernan. Up towards that man Robertson. And Jared, you were watching it upfield. What happened there?
He ran forward, Eddie. Wasn't too interested in going forward to the contest. He ran into space. He's just got to get the ball on.
Exactly. He's got to move.
He's got to move, and move he does. Up to the one-on-one. This is what Neitz wants, because he can kick it from there. There's no doubt about it. But Graham was too good. Kept his feet, got it out wide. Mitchell now on defensive 50, runs into the shadows of the Smokers stand, up towards the wing position. Out comes Cox. He's grabbed without the ball. Play on again, says the umpire. And it won't go out of bounds. And that is deliberate.
And one of the things about going back and taking a set shot is you generally then have to kick the ball over the man on the mark's head, which sticks it up into the strength of the wind, rather than being able to wheel around and punch the ball in low.
To change your mindset, I mean, a mark inside, just inside 50, they've got to get on and assume they're about 90 metres away.
Yep. Every ground in Australia, you talk about that mindset, Gary. Every other ground in Australia, you'd go back and set shots. So it is going to take some teams, perhaps just this first week of football, to realise that.
I think the Hawks should go small after the quarter time in their forward line. I don't think there's any advantage in playing tall forwards up that end of the ground.
Johnston, brilliant hands to get it to Whelan. Just knocked it on. Short kick finds his target, Bruce. He's able to play on his man. He's on the ground. Cox takes the bounce. Got it to Armstrong, close on the boundary line. Short ball again to Neitz. But I tell you what, we've said it a couple of times already. Neitz to kick at goal. Tough angle. Tough conditions to work with here.
Geez, the amount of set shots Melbourne have had at goal. If the stand was there, I reckon they'd be 4 up.
Exactly. Look, this is near impossible again, and it's almost, forget leading Neitz. He's sitting the square, bomb it in, and you're just going to have to stand your ground, try and crumb it in front.
He might dog as well.
Have a look at this. And that is what is playing on the minds of footballers kicking at that end of the ground. It has now got them in the brain.
Well, he tried to spear that one.
I was going to say, Jared, when you're that close, you've really just got to belt it through the middle, don't you?
He did try to thump it in low, spear it in.
One way it won't be affected by the wind is if you get some work on the ball with a snap, with a banana.
Both Melbourne's goals was curled around the body from pretty close range, so I think you're better off running the footy, pumping it into or around the goal square.
A few of those Gaelic football tactics, Gary, kicking around the body working.
Yes, indeed.
Cox gets it out to Mitchell. So Hawthorn have got this scoring in, but Mitchell's kick is wide, bounces on the line, luckily for him, and we'll have a throw in with just under 40 seconds left on the quarter. Hawthorn leading 26-14 by 12 points.
That's Adrian Cox, who's been on his own for most of the quarter because Andrew Lanchelli is just sitting inside 50 on his own. So a bit lucky, Melbourne. A good kick might have had him in trouble.
Still got a spare down in the attack.
82-62. Melbourne 20 more disposals this quarter than Hawthorn, so they have absolutely dominated. That's the equivalent of 3 or 4 good players. Free kick to the Hawks. High tackle. Joel Smith will take it. Heffernan. Boys got the Beatles haircuts out there today.
It's a real plus this for Hawthorn. They may be able to, I don't think they've been the best side this quarter, but by half-time, if Swabby's smart, tactics may allow them to have an invaluable lead.
7-3, Melbourne's way in the free kick count.
What was that?
Gee. Bring the side quick. That was not flash net football. We won't put that in a time capsule. And at quarter time, it's Hawthorn leading by 12 points. 4-2-26 to Melbourne 2-2-14.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jared. I think from just a pure playing point of view, Melbourne outplayed Hawthorn, but they should go to school on that. And
What about forwards up the ground, kick it over the hedge, run onto the ball?
much better. We can discuss it in greater detail after the break. It's Hawthorn 26, Melbourne 14. It's AFL Sunday.
Just shut your mouth. If you can do it, shut your mouth. Try not to panic. Just shut your mouth.
All right, here we go. Mark Jamar onto the ground for the Melbourne Football Club, and we've got a bounce to open up proceedings in the second term of this big game at the MCG. Melbourne get the first purchase of the ball, but it's Mitchell for Hawthorn who gets the forward break. Up towards the half-forward flank position it goes. Oh, Ward caught one, maybe a poke in the eye there, but he'll get the free kick at half-back flank. So Melbourne this time with the aid of the breeze, which has sprung up, as Michael Roberts said, out to Jamar, gets his first touch in senior football.
And Jeff White in the goal square with David Neitz.
Decides to go long, a wobbly old finger breaker up towards the half-forward flank, and as Gary said, sometimes a lucky bounce will do, and it does. It falls the way of Robertson off one step. He gives it a good roost towards the goal square. It's a beauty. In fact, he's put it through for his first for the Demons. It's a goal of difference.
That is exactly the sort of kick that we alluded to. It can cause some problems. It was a shocking kick. Hawthorn were in the gun, and then there was just a fortuitous bounce that opened it up for Melbourne. And as long as you've got players who are prepared to run, something can be made out of nothing.
Like Whelan's game so far, Gary.
Yeah, he's a good player, Jared. He had a really bad neck injury last year that finished his season, but...
Geez, Rod Carter had one for life.
6-point advantage for the Hawks. Demons, first blood in this second quarter. Russell Robertson. Everett spent the last 10 minutes of the first quarter on the bench. He's back in business now. That man that Jared just spoke about, Whelan. Gets the ball out wide. Neitz, the tackle by Hay from behind. Pin to him. Gee, the ump was quick on the whistle.
A good decision though by the umpires, right on the spot. Could see Neitz had no chance to get rid of it and got on with the game.
Umpire Darren Morris bounces the ball. Bateman. Crawford, little grubber kick along the ground to Adrian Cox. He was tied up before the ball arrived. Nathan Brown, the offender. Adrian Cox on the northern wing at the MCG. Looking to transfer the play. Finds Leckus. Leckus looking to go to Everett and finds him. Everett got a bit of space. Can run and play on here and bomb it long. Rawlings on the lead. Kick was an absolute shocker. It may even bounce right for Bizzle. Well, the boundary line will arrive. It does. Boundary throw-in.
Jared Healy made a point this morning on the Sunday Footy Show that perhaps some of these players aren't quite as skillful as they'd like to think they are, and they are just struggling with these conditions which are foreign to them, and I think it's worth considering.
Throw in. Everett gets up, thumps it forward. And it's old-fashioned footy now as, look at this bloke go. Went to Graham Crawford, he was grabbed. Whelan again gets the handball working. Bizzle now, at wider still to Ward. Ward's high up and under towards the wing position. High flyers needed. Good punch from behind for the Melbourne side. Uzo was taken to the ground. Picked up by Mitchell. Cop one high. We get the free kick.
I think it's unfair to say that our AFL players aren't up to the level. I mean, they are the highest level in the country, Jared. You can't...
I didn't say they weren't up to the level.
These days, aren't they?
I just don't think that their kicking skills have been tested under these conditions for a long time.
Dixon kicks forward and Everett takes the mark. A little bit of the old style of football, junior footy style, isn't it, Gary?
Yeah, a lot of
kick
blokes,
it long and hope.
A lot of blokes in the country having a look at this and smiling, I think.
Smith kicks to the pocket. Rawlings marks. Well, he's a Tasmanian Rawlings, so he should be used to the wind. But I said that about Richardson on Friday night.
Well, they won't let them train here. No one trains here. I think the Demons might have got on once in the pre-season, and that was about it. So you don't get a look at it.
Melbourne's ground, so they should.
Oh, you want to tell their supporters, Gary.
At least you could see Jade Rawlings there looking inboard. He doesn't want to have this shot at goal. He's seen what has happened in the first quarter.
So Rawlings comes in. There you go. A wobbly old Tasmanian punt, that one.
Just a waste of time having a shot.
Marks from inside 50. No value again, and a very good crowd in from Melbourne supporters as we go to Michael Roberts.
Yeah, it's almost got to the stage with this wind blowing across the body with Peter Everett, what he just did. You have to be like Ian Stewart and almost kick it out of your hand.
Ian who?
Get Robbo to run that one by us at half-time and expand in full, because obviously we only got half the story there. Bruce, Jamar.
I know what he means.
Can reduce the gap between the hand and the boot, I think he was after.
Exactly.
Confidence by the big fella, Adrian Cox. Looney. Handball missed the target. Walsh in there. He's physical. Play on calls the umpire Whelan. Tries to extract the ball out of a difficult situation. Walsh. Cool. Threads his way through heavy traffic. Uze. Kick around the corner, went straight to Simon Cox. He bangs the ball into the hot zone. Just one Hawthorn player there. And James McDonald eased him under the ball nicely.
And Gary, I'll give you a chance to retract that question. Rhetorical one.
Exactly, it was rhetorical.
Nowhere to go here, Travis Johnson. He's going to have to play smart here.
So he does. He holds up the ball, brings it into the centre of the ground. Bizzle, dive.
Good play.
Knocked forward beautifully there. He comes back to Bizzle.
Oh, missed him.
Nice kick around the body. The mark has been taken by Brown, who was the original clever player in that piece of play. From outside 50, he kicks to the square. The Hawks have got the numbers back. Neitz did very well, kept his feet and should get a free kick. Got it. Well, he had to beat two and he did.
I wish we could go back to the best sidestep in this century. Clint Bizzle performed it, although he didn't know he did it.
Exactly, yeah. Joel Smith had him cold there behind, but that effort by Neitz is as hard as anything for a forward. To stand under it with 2-on-1, hold your position and then keep front position. He deserves the full 6 points.
He's had 4 shots at goal. 1 goal, 1 behind, 2 out of bounds. He comes in. This time, win not a factor. 15 metres out, distance not a factor. Accuracy is the only factor. And that's not anymore. He put it right through the middle. It's a point of difference.
And right now, the Melbourne side looking rather ominous. It's a big wind advantage. I'm not sure if we can calculate exactly, Gary. You went somewhere between 2 and 4. I think it's probably on reflection closer to the 4 than the 2. And Hawthorn just haven't looked like scoring at the moment.
That individual effort there, Jared, is as good as any mark we'll see today or any goal kick. That is just what makes him a great leader and a great competitor, making something from nothing.
Neitz has got 2. The Demons are within 1 point early in the second quarter. Jamar, Everett. No clear winner in the midfield. Uze trying to work it out. Ground level will have another ball up shortly. Indeed we will. So the Demons, the only 2 goals of this second quarter. Robertson and Neitz kicking his second. McLaren, Jamar and Everett jockeying for position there. Jamar got the better of it. Third man in the contest was Bizzle. Smart.
Good play.
The intercept was great as well. Allows Johnstone. He will run the goal. He's a very skillful player by foot. And he has got the 3rd in a row for the Demons and his first.
Well, hopefully that'll go on the Melbourne highlights tape, and let's hope we get a good look at it, because there was a loose ball and from above you could just see 3 Melbourne players charge on it. There's the punch. Now look at that. 3 players come charging through, all at the man. Somebody affected the spoil. Ball came to one of the more talented, polished finishers in the game. And a couple of quick goals in a row by Melbourne puts a different light on the scoreboard.
Well, Travis Johnson might have started the game with the biggest yawn seen since Luna Park's entrance. But now he's got the big smile going as well, because he slammed that one through. Very polished, just balanced himself beautifully and put it through the goals. Up goes big Jamar. Give that one to the Spider. Comes to tell us he's thrown to the ground. We'll have another bounce.
Ed, I think one of the bonuses for Melbourne coming in this quarter is that despite Spider winning that little tap, Melbourne have lost nothing with Jamar going into the ruck, and they've gained something with White having the ability to go forward.
He's a big lump of a lad, 19 years of age, 197 centimetres and 95 kilos. Another good player there. Armstrong's been very good. Out to Johnson, who's starting to really assert himself in this game. The kick was a beauty. Couldn't quite be held there by Whelan under pressure. Good effort nonetheless. And Bateman, well, lucky. He didn't live up to his name. He was taking no chances.
Sam Mitchell is a player that has been picking up Travis Johnson, and I'm not quite sure whether he's the right Mitch. He's now gone to Armstrong, and Simon Cox might be the player on Travis Johnson. I think you've got to be tighter than that.
Half forward for the Demons. Punt road end. Robertson doing well in the ruck against Everett. And he got a high tackle as well. See, size doesn't matter. They are overrated, the big fellas. Kick inboard. White. Got a bad bounce. Hay needed to attack it. Joel Smith did. Came out with the resultant ball. Reese out wide. They're away. Dixon of Hawthorn gathers. Looking for the inward ball to the lead of Hodge. Couldn't mark it. Off hands. Ball in dispute now. Picked up there by Wheatley. Wide reward. They've got the loose man on downfield here. Williams. He can run. Needs a good controlling ball. Got it on the second attempt. Kick inboard to White. One out with Graham. Graham did well to bring the ball to ground level.
Free kick.
McDonald was infringed upon. No, he wasn't, said the umpire. Boundary throw in.
75 kicks to 54. All Melbourne's way. And I don't think they're overusing the ball. I think they're just getting that much more of it.
McDonald a bit stiff not to get a free kick on that occasion. Up goes White. He was actually knocked over by Robertson. Once again, McDonald's on hands and knees, flicks it out, but Mitchell intercepts for the Hawthorn side. So the Hawks struggling getting it forward at the moment. Brown just wanted it more than anybody on that occasion. Bounced off the head there of Dixon. I think we'll have a throw in. 40 metres out from the Melbourne goal. They kicked 3 goals to nothing in this quarter.
Whelan coming from the ground, part of the midfield rotation.
Heffernan coming on and Joel Smith coming off and McCabe coming on for Hawthorn. Throw in, 45 metres out. White got the tap. Umpire said he got into the back of his opponent Everett as well, and Spider will take the free kick at defensive 40 for the Hawthorn side.
A lot of space in this Hawthorn forward line. Hardly anyone inside 50. Mark Jamar's the loose ruckman across half-back. I think he's a bit wasted down there.
Good kick from Spider. Found Tallis. Now it's on to Simon Cox. His 10th disposal. Comes forward. Wasn't a flash kick. Off hands. Here's Jamar. Hello. Back to Miller. Ran him into all sorts of trouble. Walsh now gets it out. Brown's kick was a beauty. Godfrey has the run. Can have a bounce. Johnston wanted it kicked forward. He's had a second bounce. He's going to have to do something now. Look at Adem. Had the speed wobbles going forward. And Johnson finally got it forward 55.
He's a big-sized kid to be playing on a wing. When Dipper was probably the biggest of them all on the wing, but Wheatley is a big man.
I think the wing is back. I think the wing is an underrated position, and if you can get the right sort of player, can do some damage.
He's got the Harry Collier haircut too going, Wheatley. Johnson just sets it up. Have a look at the bounce, the lucky bounce. Gary Lyon's been calling for it all day. Only one bloke wanted it. Neitz, you've got to hit the Robertson. The material one kicks another goal. 4 in a row for the Demons and 2 in a row for Robertson.
Yes, well, again, Travis Johnson involved in that passage of play. He is just, he's come onto the ground and started on the interchange bench. And they had some loose back Melbourne, Hawthorn rather. They outnumbered Melbourne on a number of occasions, but just no one was able to get to the drop of the footy, and it bumbled around. And again, something was created out of nothing.
He's a quick thinker, isn't he?
He does make something out of nothing, old Russell.
In a row for the Demons. They now lead it by 11 points after trailing by 12 points some 12 minutes ago. Disposals in this quarter. Melbourne 39 to Hawthorn 24. Can you believe that? Cox of the Adrian variety. Nathan Brown, who's come into the game in this second quarter, and so has this man. He has set them alight, Travis Johnstone.
Loney's been moved on to him, Brian.
Johnston kick to half forward. Robinson the intended target. Dixon did well with the body there and was able to manoeuvre himself into a good position to mark. Gets the ball back into the corridor. Mitchell been prominent. Short ball, dangerous. Williams brings it to ground for the Demons. In front there, Wheatley. Hodge tidied it up. Got it off to Everett. On to Mitchell. Mitchell forward. Very nice grab indeed by Jade Rawlings. Long way from home though. Couple of kicks in this. He goes wide. Loney will look to get back on his preferred left side. He does now. He says, where will I kick it? In the hot spot he flies. Up went Barlow. No Mark Bizzle. Working hard. Look at the numbers for the Demons. Johnston, Brown, and they're out of trouble.
Momentarily, because Brown has got no one to kick it to. He held it up beautifully. In the end, McDonald presented himself. Now McDonald looks up the corridor and there's Demons everywhere. Away they go. This time it's Williams with his 8th possession on the wing position. Good kick.
Well.
The criticism of Luke Williams has been his disposal in recent years. He's always been a forward. He's found his spot across half-back and he's having a fairly good afternoon after an impressive Wizard Cup.
Well, the Melbourne forwards are absolutely bleeding on Jeff White. There was 2 leads from Neitz and Robertson snuck into the square, and now they're going to have to do it 2-on-2. To the goal square it goes. Well, there you go. He made something out of nothing, didn't he, David Neitz? Magnificent mark.
Well, we're talking about the Coleman medalist, and I guess when people project forward and say pick your Coleman medalist, not too many had this bloke penciled in again for this year. I tell you what, why you wouldn't, and I'm one of those idiots, needs questioning. He's an imposing figure, David Neitz.
He's kicked 2 goals, 1.
And this is going to make it a pretty fair lead for Melbourne, and they're doing it without really Adem having a big impact. Kicked 1 goal early, but since then he's been well held.
He's had 5 scoring shots, kicked 2 goals, 1. Or 5 attempts at goal, rather. 3 scoring shots, 2 goals. They make that 3. 2 for the quarter, and the Demons by 17 points.
Just an interesting aside, Gary. Melbourne's had 14 bounces today, and the Hawks are yet to register on the scoreboard. And what that means, I'm not sure, but just a little aside.
More space, I think. Particularly someone like Johnstone. I watched him again, Jared. He sat out here on his own without anyone near him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's Loney that's gone to him now, but doesn't want to get near him.
Does it mean they're carrying the ball through the midfield a bit more? Well, the Demons have kicked 5 unanswered goals in this quarter. I guess the good thing for Hawthorn is they haven't had to have a shot at goal at the other end. It's been the only bonus for them, the difficult end. James McDonald, 1-on-1. Gates Brown, kick on its way. Neitz missed everything. Just the minor score.
That's the first behind for Melbourne for the quarter. It's actually 5-1 to a point for the quarter and have been playing 16 minutes, so they have dominated Melbourne.
In fact, they've dominated the game.
Yeah.
They just, with the stand not being there, it's made the scoreboard look a little bit more respectable.
And Hawthorn had a run of 3 goals in 6 minutes from the 17.5-minute mark of the first term. They started to just get going a little bit with the win. That's just 15, you would have thought.
A little bit disappointed. I reckon Swabby has had 15 minutes now to have a look at the way the game's playing out. Why not push all your forwards up the ground and play one line in defence and just allow Pagan's paddock to unfold?
Good mark by Everett.
They're not penetrating forward 50. Time to try something a little bit out of the box.
Lance Pitchjani takes a strong mark. Now they've got to get going, Gary Lyon says, and he does. He gets a good shepherd off the ball too from Bateman, and he kicks to the forward 50. Out they come. Barlow put up one hand, couldn't hang on to it. Knocks it out. Walsh, good play. Bateman kept running. The kickers are high up and under. They need a bit of luck, the Hawks, at the moment. 2 Demons, but Cox comes off. Adrian Cox, he kicks it high up towards the goal square. Went a lot higher than I thought and didn't have as much distance as I thought, and it's over the line and out of bounds.
I know it sounds strange, but the perfect drop punt into this forward line is not that valuable today. I can tell you. The end result is not going to help you kick goals. I just think barrel it in there.
Big torpedo, Gary.
Just get it in there, let it go loose. Something is more likely to happen if that was the case than a picture-perfect drop punt that at best will be marked and the kick's hard.
Loney gets his kick away up towards full forward. A bounce required. Here comes Barlow. He crashes through. Open the door. Here's a chance for Piccioni. Steps and kicks. A goal. That's what's required. Gary Lyon picked it. Hawks get it.
The ugliest kick you've seen from a Hawthorn player. And just, what happens is it bounces. Look where the bounce here. Bounces funny. Something happens out of nothing. And that's the only way you're going to kick them down there. You're not going to kick too many from set shot marks.
Tell you what, Gary, the way this is going, Jack Daniels may be a high-quality recruit for next year.
So you just rely on luck now in football, do you?
No, not at all, Brian. You've got forwards that read the play better, anticipate better. It gives you a better chance.
Lance Piccioni registers the first goal at the 18-minute mark of the second quarter for the Hawks in this quarter. Back in the middle, Loates. Look at that. Heffernan off the hands, got a high tackle and won himself another attempt.
Bit stiff there, the Hawks. He took him on. Just the tackling technique just left a bit to be desired.
Neitz or White, the 2 targets. Green is there as well. Green offers the lead. He's got the break on his man. The kick was equal to it. Well, Jonathan Hay didn't have great support back there.
Bit of a dust up in the centre of the ground too. Lance Piccioni and Lee and Shelley getting stuck into each other.
Green.
I'm not sure that every Melbourne member, Gary, is convinced about how good a player Chris Heffernan can be for the club. I think by the year's end, they'll be more happy with the trade.
Well, Shane Woden got off to a wonderful start Friday night.
Did.
So Chris Heffernan's got some...
If they got a few more here, they might be able to have a look at him. Kick on its way for Green. Hit the post. Three-quarter height.
Not happy with the crowd, Brian?
I think the Hawks have really come out in support of their club today.
Melbourne home game.
13-point advantage for the Demons. Ed.
McCabe gets the ball on half-back flank for Hawthorn. He comes in. The kick is a good one. Piccioni's getting into the play here. He's been pretty good, Lance. 7th disposal. Now the Hawks through Dixon up towards the centre-half forward position. Rawlings was pushed. You heard Jared Healy say it. The umpire didn't pay it, though. It comes out the Bizzle. White has to get down, decides to go for the slipper off the carpet and over the line and out of bounds it goes for a throw in half-forward flank for the Hawks, who trail by 13 points, and if they can snip another goal here, I tell you what, their last 10 minutes will be the most valuable 10 minutes of the game for them.
Just looking at the marks there, White and Bruce doing particularly well. I think you make a fair point, Ed. They're so much closer than on the scoreboard than the match would suggest. And here's another opportunity to get 6 points closer.
Lekis read the tap beautifully, kicked it forward, and here's a chance for Barlow. Now, he used Mercurial around the goals, Barlow.
Another one of those mongrel kicks that you spoke about.
Just
Gary.
get it forward.
Yeah, he's in good position, Brian. That's the advantage that forwards have. You take your defender where you want to take him, and I'm not sure whether he's going to kick the goal. That's the worrying thing for the Hawks.
Well, he's close enough to take a fair bit of the wind out of this. The angle's going to be tough, though. He comes in, spears it nice and low, and he's missed it to the near side.
Got them doing things they wouldn't normally do, like that. Stabbing
do you
at the
think
ball.
he should have run around and kicked it through on the hook?
I definitely think the balls have had work on them in way of a snap and got plenty of work on the ball, are less wind affected, and that would mean running around on the right in that case, or left from the other side.
Snap it through.
Still, that one was a fair way to snap the footy in his defence.
Well, he tried to kick it really hard, didn't he, to compensate and try and chisel the ball through the goal, and that upset his whole routine. Bizzle, long ball back, White. So he's the leading marking player on the ground, and there's another one to go further ahead in that department. Out wide, Chris Heffernan on the southern stand wing. Robertson presents, just took his eye off the ball at the last moment. Simon Cox on his non-preferred right side with a beautifully weighted kick to Lotes. Now they move the ball with some precision, the Hawks. Loney with the long ball in. Everett flew. Couldn't mark.
Pinball.
Williams at Hawthorn tried to work it. Ward, Armstrong, Walsh, Leoncelli combining in the middle with a kick out in front of Neitz. He traps it beautifully. Don't argue, get out of my way. Whelan tries to take all comers on and got the high tackle to go with it.
Twice now they've taken Hawthorn tacklers on and been, I think, a bit fortunate to get away with it.
Matthew Whelan, 55 metres out from goal, centering ball. Leoncelli be able to run and play on and get some momentum. He doesn't. He elects to stand and wait and then centre the ball to Ward. He can now move forward with some momentum, the ball. Inside the centre square, a thumping kick. It's a long ball over the top. Green couldn't mark. Off hands in front. He'll be picked up by Bruce. Demons have got 6 for the quarter.
It was a great example, Gary, of just giving yourself a chance here, Cameron Bruce. He's a long way from the action, but he just pushed into 10 metres away from where the contest was taking place. His man left him, you can see there. Cox has gone forward. There's Bruce just ducking out the back, and luck was running his way. Cox could not believe his misfortune.
He made a blue, Simon Cox.
He had to stay with his man.
Don't go guessing when the ball's that close to goal.
So that's a classic 11-point turnaround with Barlow missing at one end and Melbourne getting the goal at the other. Those ones really hurt you late in the term as Heffernan tries to break out. It's the Hawks by 18 points now. Sorry, Demons by 18 points. To centre wing. Melbourne have been inside 50 12 times this quarter for their 6 goals.
Look at that, and value for money inside 50. Very effective, Melbourne up that end of the ground. Hawthorn have really laboured.
And they're getting killed around the packs, Hawthorn today, aren't they, Gary?
Yeah, and they got big Spider there, although he's resting at full forward at the moment.
Just to prove me a liar there, Mitchell got it out. They line out of bounds. So a big chance for the Hawks with 3:33 left on the time clock. half forward flank. Trailing by 3 goals. We've played 24.5 minutes in the term. So 3.5 left. Mitchell again hard at the ball. It spills out. Rees just squeezes the kick inside the forward 50. Bizzle from behind, but Rawlings did it better. Took the mark. He wheels around straight away. That's a good kick to the spot. Up they go from behind. Spider's the man. And will line up 15 metres directly in front to kick his first goal for Hawthorn. And his 300th career goal if he can kick this one. He's kicked 299 goals, 193 behinds. The big fella comes in. A big goal required for Hawthorn, and he does it.
Jade Rawlings created that one by taking that mark outside 50 and then wheeling around. Just watch here how quickly he gets back and gets the ball moving. Rather than thinking he's a chance, the penny's dropped, you can't kick it from out there. So he just belted it in the top of the square, not too high, didn't sit up too high, travelled a bit flatter and a bit quicker. And, well, that seems to be the spot if you're going to kick a goal up that end of the ground. 5, 10, 15 out directly in front.
The dual All-Australian Peter Everett with his first goal for his new club, Hawthorn, with just under 3 minutes remaining in the quarter. An important goal. Got the high tackle, McCabe. I think the advantage will be paid here. No, it won't. He'll have to bring it back. The advantage was originally paid, and then the umpire saw that it bounced in no particular direction, so he brought the ball back. Umpire Darren Morris in charge of that particular decision in the middle of the MCG. Now McCabe. A lot of players have moved forward to the ball in the time that it's taken to get it back, so options will be few. Straight down the middle he goes. High ball. Everett lurking at the back. Got nudged under it, but Rawlings popped up and marked it. Now he's 35 to 40 metres out directly in front, and he will have to be everything working for him to kick this goal. Good grab.
7th mark for Jade Rawlings as well. He's been fantastic today.
Yeah, that is a top mark.
It's a great mark, that one.
Over the top and leaning over the top of the pack, and this would be a difficult kick too.
And plenty of courage. He's wide open going in like that.
Two first quarter goals.
Yep, and set the last one up for Everett. So Jade Rawlings recently engaged to Samantha Richardson, the sister of Matthew Richardson at Richmond, and well, it must be a family curse at the moment because he's missed it. He's kicked 2 goals, 2 for the day.
Ward, there is a good look at what confronts a guy with the responsibility of kicking the ball back into play. All of those Hawthorn players in the zone moving from side to side, just trying to get Ward off guard and make his decision that much tougher. He's found their target, and Bizzle immediately plays on. Got an open forward line here, the Demons. Big crunch over the top. No winner. Picked up by the young fella, Williams of Hawthorn. Banged it back inside 50. And there to take the mark on this occasion was Miller.
Miller's kick, gee. Good play there by Ward. Just dashed away. Magnificent play by Ward because he's run to half forward and hit his teammate on the chest.
Good play, this guy.
Cameron Bruce, is he ever? 55 out, he's got an empty goal square, so he goes for home. Will it make the distance? Yes, it does. Offline and through for a point.
You happy with the decision, Jared?
Oh, there's a good decision. I don't think there's any doubt it was a mark, Harry. But when you're going to have a ping at the sticks from 60,
kick him.
You got to kick him.
Well, he didn't on that occasion, and the margin is 12 points. So the Hawks, I think, will be pretty happy with the last 10 minutes of play. Get back into this game. Wiggly. Ball spills out wide, out in the full. Came off the shin there of Peter Walsh. So the Hawks might have one last foray forward. Barlow has it with inside a minute left on the clock. His kick is a good one. Rees at half forward flank. Time clock ticking, as you can see. Well, he goes back 40 metres to Bateman. Crawford gives him a lead. He squeezes it through, though. Mark taken there by Big Lotes. Now they've got to get it on. Lotes thumps it forward. Big chance for Rawlings again. He flies, got one grab it, couldn't get the second one. Fall of the ball. Demons have got the numbers. Out to Ward, slams it onto the boot. It's going to come straight back in because Bateman's the only one here. Gets a bad bounce. Has to run another 20 or so metres back. They've still got time with 15 seconds left as we go forward. Up towards Mitchell. Thumped away from him. Robertson does well. Fends off one player. And Melbourne have it wide open here. Could be their chance for a goal. Cameron Bruce has run inside 50. Gets it over to Green, the left foot. He's a beautiful kick normally. And he does it. He puts it through with 1 second left on the clock. And that is a final goal for Melbourne.
The skyline of the best city in the world, the city of Melbourne, no question about it, and the greatest sporting ground in the world here complements it beautifully. A little bit of work doing just to bring it up into, well, even better state. And at half-time, it is the Demons by 18 points, 9-5-59 over the Hawks, 6-5-41. Haven't heard from Michael Roberts for a little while. Let's cross to him on the boundary line.
Yeah, the Demons didn't get too carried away with that Brad Green goal right on the siren, but very, very controlled in the rooms there. They weren't idle for long. A lot of stretching, a lot of rub downs, and it was interesting. The captain David Neitz had some work on his left hamstring, but he gave the wink to the physios and said he was okay. Campbell Brown in the Hawthorn rooms, done a groin, probably won't take any further part.
Yes, thanks, Michael. We can see him hobbling across the ground at the moment, Campbell Brown. That would be a blow, a disappointment.
Devastating start to the Hawks, given their omissions, and all of a sudden Campbell was out with an injury that I guess will keep him out for a minimum of 2 weeks.
Well, it's all important, of course. Jade Rawlings doing the job for the Hawks in the first quarter, kicked a couple of goals. They will need to find another avenue, though. I'd reckon they'd need 6, Jared, this quarter.
Important quarter for them, Gary. If they can get half a dozen goals, they're going to be in with a real chance of winning. If Melbourne outscore them in this quarter, then the chances of a blowout loom fairly strongly, and that's the last way you want to start a year. They had a similar start last year when they got flogged. I think it was up in Brisbane, and it just puts the whole club back a couple of weeks. Round one, I know it's only worth 4 points, as you wrote in the Herald Sun this week, but geez, it feels different if you're a player.
Simon Godfrey has been doing the tagging job on Shane Crawford, who we saw on shot just then. I think he's done a pretty good job. Crawford had just the 8 touches to half-time and exerted none of his usual influence on the game, and he would need to get busy if Hawthorn are going to get themselves or get their nose back in front.
They got a couple of no-names, Melbourne, I think, that are going to become bigger names. Williams is one.
Yep.
Brown is another one who's continues to improve as a player. We know Ward and Bruce, players, Whelan, are all players growing in their reputations.
So here we go with our second half of football from the MCG. It's the Demons by 18 points, 9-5-59. Hawthorn 6-5-41. White and Lotes go at it in the middle. Mitchell with the winning ball. Tallis marks. Hawthorn straight into attack. Good sign. Punt road end. Barlow on the lead. Needed good hands. Still a chance for the Hawks. Crawford's closing. Clever knock in, but Williams of Melbourne happy to concede the behind to start the second half.
He did well, Fergie. He pushed out from his man in Spider Everett, so that was a bit of a challenge for him. Crawford tried to knock it over the top, but to no effect.
Well, boys, for the Hawks, they trailed by 18 points, now 17 points as we get into this third term. They really have to put the boot down and, kick 6-0 pretty much?
I would think 6 goals is the minimum, and they've started Peter Everett in the goal square, which is okay. They got the breeze, but their kick from Tallis probably should have gone to the top of the square and let Everett compete one out against Ferguson. Instead, he tried to pinpoint a pass to Barlow on the lead with Daniel Ward, who's got great leg speed. So
big challenge for the first game, Fergie.
Well, make him nervous. Clear Barlow out, leave Everett one out in the goal square with him.
Throw in at half-forward flank. Of course, it can all be redundant. If Melbourne get the first couple of goals, they could blow them right out of the water here. Throw in. So the Demons will be very keen to work hard, particularly in the first 5-10 minutes of this term.
You've got Ben Dixon loose in the back line. I'm not sure that's all that important either, because we've seen that marks inside 50 aren't going to cost you that much. I think you're better off pushing him up to the middle of the ground, trying to create something.
Lotes gets the tap, but Johnson read it the better. Gave it to Uze. Uze's kick was a pretty good one up towards the half-forward flank position. Almost in the back there. Umpire has paid it. They're going to be red hot on it this year, and Cameron Bruce has been very good, has the ball again. He looks across and sees White, who can run in here. Holds his spot. Now he kicks forward. Beautiful kick. Neitz couldn't quite hold the mark. Bounced off his chest. Here's a chance now for the Hawks. They can run it through the middle of the ground. It comes to Mitchell. Mitchell thumps it long to centre half forward, looking for Adrian Cox. In Barlow, in fact, it was. Off the hands of the pack. Everett trying to bend over and grab it. Good play by Ferguson. Umpire said in the back. And Big Spider will take the free kick. It'll have to go 50 metres on a 45-degree angle. Free kicks 13 Melbourne, 9 to Hawthorn.
And that's why you try and isolate big Peter Everett one out at this stage in young Ferguson's career. Make him nervous, get him anxious, big crowd in front of Hawthorn, strong support down there, and it just might make a mistake like that. The big mistake up the other end of the ground was David Neitz, who went to take the ball on the chest when really he should have taken it out in front with his hands.
Big Spider comes in, a vital kick from 55 metres out. Have a look at that one. Spider's kicked his 301st career goal and his second of the day.
Yeah, it was a double clanger for the Demons. Jeff White put it out for David Neitz. It was one he would expect himself to have taken and had a reasonable chance at goal from 30 metres out. And then the rebound, there was the push from the youngster. And the rebound was there for all to see. And Spider Everett, who's an outstanding shot at goal, got the Hawks off to a fly in this third term.
Spider Everett with his second goal, and Gary talks about getting him one out down there in the square. Gee, coaches are reluctant to allow players to do that these days. Always got to be someone else down there with him, like Barlow at the moment. In the middle, Crawford went without it. Free kick will go Hawthorn's way, so this is the start they needed.
They realise, Brian, that this is their moment. This is their best and probably only shot of getting themselves back in the game is to score and score heavily this quarter.
And he's just starting off across the half-back line. His man Tallis is pushing up to the middle.
And that's the man with the ball. Roden Tallis. Short kick, finds Lotes. He'll pump it long. Now Everett's got the sit here. He's got a bit of room to work in front. The ball drops short. Up went Barlow, off hands. Adrian Cox, right foot snap. The Hawks have got two very quick goals in the third quarter.
That's a great kick. That is a great snapshot. And David Lotes, Jeff White went to the goal square to give Ryan Ferguson a hand. Lotes was able to drop out, kick this ball in long. Once again, Jeff White went for a chest mark rather than extend his arms and try and take it in his hands. And that was a nice bit of crumbing from Adrian Cox. So they'd be very, very happy with the start to this quarter. And
So there you go. Within 4 minutes of the third term, it's back to a 5-point ball game. Melbourne hanging on by 5 points. Hawthorn have kicked the first two of the third term. Can they get the centre break? Going in hard, there was Godfrey. Possessions out of the centre now, coming at a premium. We'll have another bounce.
game back on, no doubt about it. They've come out, reinvigorated the Hawks with a bit more purpose.
Got a pretty simple game plan too. Just get it up to Spider. No finesse. Just bomb it to the top of the square and we'll crumb from him.
No brains football here at the MCG at the moment. Get it and kick it long. John Kennedy could be coaching there at the moment as Adrian Cox does exactly that. He thumps it up towards the full forward position. Barlow is there. Uze for Melbourne. Good tackle from Spider Everett. We'll have another go here, Spider. He picks it up. The left foot snap at the goals across the face. Right across the face and out of the line, out of bounds on the full. But the pressure is enormous on the Melbourne defence at the moment. They've got a lot of young fellas down there. Spider's now kicked 2-1 and 1 out of bounds on the full.
It's exactly the right reason that you'd go long. Put the pressure on the young heads and see how they cope.
So the Demons, can they clear the ball? They're under enormous pressure. Mitchell in front. Whelan's got some work to do. Did it nicely. Showed a bit of poise there. The kick out wide was excellent.
Brilliant play.
And Leoncelli had good hands as well. Just backward of the wing. Leoncelli working the ball forward now. Bruce
Got it.
worked it well and received the free kick. Holding. Now what will transpire downfield? Neitz on the lead, out in front. Oh, let him under the ball nicely, Jonathan Hay. Wasn't paid the mark. Probably could have been. Robertson. Neitz gets back to his feet, knocks the ball out in front of Brown. Nathan Brown kept it in play. And just behind, thought it was going to sneak in for a moment. So the Demons are under some real pressure for perhaps the first time in the game.
Graham brings the ball out.
Choney.
Tallis. And as Gary Lyons said, Piccioni out on centre wing. They've worked it up beautifully. Look at that kick. Needs to hit the mark, and it did. Barlow at full stretch.
They've got to sniff the Hawks here. They're up and running.
Spider wants it long and strong, and he's going to get it against the young man Ferguson. Spider. Uze comes in for the chop out as well. Over the top was Rawlings. Couldn't hold the mark. Bizzle front and square. Gets the handball working now to Ward. To Walsh rather. Walsh to Uze. Uze out towards Robertson. Out at full tilt. Gets the lucky bounce. Backs himself in and heads at full steam back towards the goal. He's on the boundary line. As you can see, the kick was a beauty straight down the throat of his teammate in Brad Green, who's a beautiful kick of the football. Waste no time. One-on-one. Neitz to the front, over the head of the pack it goes. Rush behind. Godfrey tried to go for the scissor kick. And the man from the House of Bolger runs it through for a point. The Hawthorn skipper then plays on himself and he's away.
They've got the message, the Demons, at that end. They're just getting it in quick, aren't they?
Well, and both ends, really, Brian. I guess one end's going to be a bit more effective, but one out, move the footy quickly, give David Neitz a chance. And like we've seen at the other end, if you don't mark it, particularly Neitz, who's probably the best one-on-one mark in the comp, then the ball will drop somewhere in the vicinity, which is still dangerous.
7-point margin in favour of the Demons, and we've played 7, nearly 8 minutes in this third quarter. Ball knocked down to McDonald.
Nick.
Hodge, Reese it was.
Had to be a throw kick to the Hawks.
Should have been a high tackle, as Gerard mentioned. Nothing forthcoming, so we'll have another boundary thrown at the attacking end for the Demons.
I think one of the bonuses, if there is any, Gary, of having this stand missing is we're not going to see too many blowouts because you're only able to kick big scores in 2 quarters.
Free kicks, 14-10 in favour of the Demons. Another one missing then for the Hawks. Robertson over the line.
So more win means less blowouts.
Fun as it seems.
Work it through.
Here we go. Hawks really applying the screws in the opening 10 minutes of this third quarter. Can they keep that pressure up and not allow Melbourne to score, at least early in the quarter? Mitchell working hard at the back to extract the ball. Leoncelli all over him. Umpire did the right thing and let it go. Eventually it came out tunnel ball style. Piccioni just put his head over the ball and said, I'm going to work this one out no matter what. Underground handball there from Godfrey. Went to the line.
Well, they've reduced it, the Hawks, to a pretty scrappy affair. I think that's going to benefit them as we see a free kick come from nowhere.
Piccioni's kick was a good one. It could sit here for Cox. It does. Adrian Cox tries to break the tackle. Neitz and does it beautifully. Then thumps it long. It's a mongrel kick forward, though. And White gets into the hole and takes the line.
Eddie David Loates went back to play on White, so he couldn't do that exact thing.
Spider got a finger on it. Ferguson on hands and knees does it well over to White, who flicks it over the top. Now a chance for Melbourne to get away. Walsh up towards centre wing. Robertson did well, fended his opponent Dixon away. Then Dixon came a second time and did it better. Kick was a beauty too down Leckis' throat on half-forward flank. Hawks have got to keep it moving. They've got plenty lined up in the middle of the ground. 13th disposal coming up for Angelo Leckis.
Play on.
Now he goes with the kick. Oh, lovely play.
Yeah.
Just put it up for Rawlings, who takes the mark.
That came about because David Loates went down to play on Jeff White. Rather than allow White to fill that hole, he ambled down there. You can just see White in the shorter screen. He had to move out of the hole and go to Loates. Now, Loates is a far more valuable player to Hawthorn by playing on White than trying to get a kick behind play.
2 goals, 2 for Jade Rawlings. He won't trouble the scorers with that one. Still in play, though. Now it's not over the line now to bounce. Inside 50 is 7-3. Make that 8-3 for the quarter. Hawthorn over Melbourne. 8-3 forward 50s.
Clearances Hawthorn 21, Melbourne 14. They're doing better around the stoppages at the moment, the Hawks.
To draw level won't be good enough for the Hawks at the end of this quarter. They must be in front by something. It's the scoring end, the punt road end, to which they're kicking at the moment. We'll have another ball up in the Hawthorn forward 50. 12.5 minutes remaining in the quarter. They've got 2 goals so far, the Hawks, and they've narrowed the margin to 7. Travis Johnstone had an impact in the first half. White to Johnstone. Tallis tackled. Ball in dispute. Hawthorn teams of bygone years have been very good with the disputed ball. We'll have another ball up in the Hawthorn forward 50. So a critical next stage in the game. Can Hawthorn go on with it? Or will the Demons respond and take a bit of wind out of the sails of the Hawks? Whelan, centre wing, boundary throw in.
Yeah, a little bit of a stalemate. They not quite looking like it. Jonathan Hay hasn't had a touch at this particular point in time. David Neitz has kicked 3 goals and probably could have had 5. So maybe he's got to take a risk every now and then, Hay, and try and move Neitz and get a bit of that initiative away.
Boundary throw in, Piccioni at the back waiting. McCabe caught with the ball, still got rid of us. They're a chance here, the Hawks. That's Reese. Kicks it inside 50. Lotes heads for the ball. Loney there as well. Lekkas. No winner. We'll have another boundary throw in the forward end for the Hawks. The punt road end.
So the throw in from 45 metres out. Jeff White versus Lotes. Melbourne have got the numbers then. They've really flooded back, as you'd expect in this quarter, after Hawthorn's 2 quick goals to Everett and Adrian Cox. Well, that was invention. Good play, Ferguson. Kept his head. It was very good. Uze. Well, there was no one to kick it to, so that was about the best result for Adem Uze. It's gone over the line and out of bounds. No doubt it was deliberate, but you could hardly pay it for deliberate when you kicked it 40 metres. Or could you? Oh,
well, the new interpretation suggests that they could. Yeah. Jade Rawlings asked the question, but just a shake of the head from umpire Darren Morris.
So Big Spider, who's joined the family club Hawthorn, thumps it to the forward 50. Looks more like a member of the Manson family, though, as the handball comes out. McCabe tried to knock it forward. Now he goes to the tunnel ball, but it's been cut off, and away they go, the Demons. McDonald, handballs over the top. Now they're working forward with Williams for Melbourne, kicking up towards Whelan, who's been fantastic today. Gets it in front of Chance Bateman, wants to take him on. His 12th disposal is inside 50. It bounces in front of Neitz, who kept it going, though, kept the ball. Now a chance for Hay for his first stat of the afternoon. Play on. No, what's going on now? There was an advantage being paid against Neitz, I think.
But Jonathan Hay still doesn't get a kick.
I was going to say, if I'd have been Hay, you'd get the kick, wouldn't you? Crawford will take the free kick in the back pocket.
Indeed he does. So the Hawks will come forward once again. Here they go again as Hodge bangs it forward. Bit of a blind kick. Straight to right. He's the one man you don't want to kick it to.
David Lotes is just 20 metres away, Brian. He should have been right by his side on that occasion.
10th mark for White, the leading mark taker on the ground at the moment.
Blind bombs, though, just serve nobody. You've just still got to have a quick look and put it to your team's advantage.
Indeed. Armstrong short to Bizzle. Plays on immediately. Good work. Here go the Demons forward once again. Williams kicks a long ball down to Neitz. Over the top, Bruce. At the feet, Whelan. Handball to Green. Can kick the incredible goal. Poster.
Playing the paddock now, Melbourne. They've got all their players up the ground. Neitz is lurking about 35 metres from, and they're running onto the balls that Neitz spills.
1 goal, 3 for Green.
So the kick out, Hawthorn reload again. Oh, Kelly. Dixon. Robertson now, as Dixon falls over as well. Robertson, look at this. Armstrong gets up and takes the mark. Now this kid is a good kick. From 40 metres out directly in front. You would say
10-1.
Well, I reckon he'll put it through. I'll take your 10s.
Rightio, how much, Edward?
Oh, no, we don't bet on television. And being a office bearer of a football club, you do not bet on any football, Gary.
Just going on what we've seen today, though, this would be an extraordinary kick if he put it through.
Yes, he would be bucking the trend if he was to kick this.
The bookmaker's gone quiet behind me too. In he comes. See?
Oh, someone's missed
taking the 10s.
Bookie was
put it through to go. And that is a vital one.
Could be worth a couple in the overall scheme of things. And I don't know, Jared, whether it's dropped or what the case may be, but it looked easy. And Ben Dixon wouldn't want to have a look at this again, but that can happen in footy. Just get off balance. They were away again, Hawthorn. They've been very good coming out from their fullback kick-ins, and they were away on that occasion.
Well, to be fair, that is another trepidation, another trap that we're not used to seeing here. The sun is going to play a greater problem for players later in the game because it's setting in the west, and that's exactly where he would have been looking. No protection from the stand.
Well, that's why they are building a new stand, Jared, to block the elements out, the sun and the wind and the moon and the whole lot. And we'll be playing at another Telstra Dome if we're not careful. Reese, McCabe through the middle of the ground. They must respond, Hawthorn. Williams of Hawthorn fell over. Bizzle mops it up, gives it off to Nathan Brown, who's been steady. Short ball finds Armstrong. Stephen Armstrong, the West Australian, played.
Got to come this side. Johnstone out here on his own.
With the Perth Football Club. Short ball missed. Here go the Hawks. Rawlings put the pressure on. Out wide, they've got it. Piccioni stands. Wants to take Uze on. He does. Gets around him. Poor kick though. And Williams of Melbourne able to pick it up.
Now they'll get to him.
Yep.
Bizzle has got the chance. No. Handball's back to Armstrong. Handball over the top. Has better play to Godfrey. Godfrey gets it going to McDonald. McDonald now up the wing. Here's a chance for almost a Pagan's paddock type play. Had it gone over the top, but it was pushed forward. And Joel Smith now rebounds for Hawthorn. They need to get the next couple of the Hawks. Rawlings got it now. He's 65 out. Decides to go for home. It's a high up and under. Bizzle gets back and he'll take the mark.
Unforgivable kick.
Gee, that's frustrating.
It's a bit like we said earlier, though. I reckon at the punt road end, people are getting sucked in that they're actually kicking with a hurricane. The wind is not that much down that end. Having said that, Crawford for captain's goal. Puts it through his first, and the Hawks are back in it.
There was the Dixon payback.
Talk unforgivable kicks. That one made Jade Rawlings look like a sizzling pass. Luke Williams.
Yeah, was it that bad a kick?
Well, Brown could have taken a step back.
Bad enough. You know, make a mistake, make it to the short side, not over his head.
That was ugly.
It was very ugly.
Game was gone. Now it's open.
So Hawthorn come again, 3-1 in this third quarter. Centre clearances for the game. Hawthorn 10, Melbourne just 5. Lotes in the middle, off the fingers of Walsh. Here's one for the Demons. No, it's not. Whelan is away.
He took him on BT and he was dragged down beautifully there by Loney.
He was indeed. So 11-5 in the middle of the ground. Hawthorn's way. And they are playing inspired football in this third quarter. They're urgent. They want it. Walsh. Handball out wide. Uze under intense pressure from a couple of Hawks, and Peter Everett says, get out of my way. This is my territory.
Made a bit of... it just made an impact there, the new rule. He didn't want to go to the boundary line, Adem Uze, so the pressure was on him.
27 tackles Hawthorn, 19 Melbourne.
Throw in, the Hawks are lifting, there's no doubt about it. As Whelan, though, for Melbourne, gets the little handball going. Robertson does it well, pushed it out in front, beat Dixon to the ball, got it out to Walsh, got the handball on to McDonald, and Robertson kept running. He might get it eventually. Here it is. Can he get it? No, he can't. Brown does better, redeems himself from before. At the Bizzle, here's a chance now for the Demons as they go forward. Liancelli's kick was a beauty. Straight down the throat of Green, and here's a beautiful kick of the football. Probably too far out. 45 metres out. He's kicked 1 goal 3.
Well, this will tell you, because he is a good kick of the footy. I'll tell you, I've been very impressed with his Clint Bizzle.
Yep.
He makes the right decision almost every time. He hasn't had a hell of a lot of the footy, but he's still been very polished. 14 possessions is just a nice, neat return.
Between the two 50s, the two actual 50s on the ground, that little arc there, the wind does play a lesser role, so he can kick straight at the goal from here, and does, and puts it through.
He just defied logic.
2 important ones into the wind. And a good response by Melbourne. In fact, their half-back line, I reckon, Gary, has been under pressure for most of this quarter, and they've responded pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just a Bizzle handball earlier. We just saw it then. He held it for a fraction of a second, which meant that the two Hawthorn defenders had to come to him and then slipped it through. And that might just debunk all the theories, that kick. I mean, Eddie's point is valid.
Now, Jared and Gary, what do you do if you're Hawthorn now? Do you leave it as it is, or do you make another change? Gary?
I'd get it more open, but let's have a look at Uze.
Uze runs onto the ball inside 50. Neitz got the front position. Hay got the hand to it, brought it to ground. Good play. Players throwing themselves in recklessly. Robinson went without it. Have a look at this for a desperate passage of play. Graham out wide. Now Tallis has really got to work here. He's got Wheatley to beat in a pure one-on-one. Wheatley leaves him standing, minus the boot on the kick. Offhand Smith, cool. Loney, good by foot. Handball this time, Lekis. Hawthorn now under fire. Kick out wide, looking for Barlow. 2-on-1, Demons win it. Boundary line's okay for them in this situation.
Brown certainly went backwards on that one.
No doubt it's about Nathan Brown's courage.
To answer your question, BT, I'd keep it as it is. I think Gary's right. They push a few other players up and just isolate Spider and have somebody at his feet when the ball gets there.
And have someone on Jeff White if he drops back into that hole.
22 minutes gone in this third term. Hard crunching attack on the ball there from both players. That's good courage. Ball up.
And I think that's been a highlight of the game. Ed, both Hawthorn and Melbourne, they've hit the ball hard, they've hit the man hard when it's been there, and it's been a ferocious attack on the ball. Good start to the season.
Bit of rugby league in that one, don't worry.
Yeah,
Northern Territory boy.
Played a lot of rugby league, didn't he?
He did.
And Sam Mitchell took it and got straight back up. Disposals now, Melbourne 222, Hawthorn 175.
That is a lot. I mean,
47.
you don't often see the gap open up that much.
Well, it's 3 star players, really, isn't it, as far as disposals? Piccioni couldn't quite get it. Joel Smith does. He kicks it to the forward 50. It was well read by Rawlings, but he couldn't hold it in the end. Ward's been good today until that moment. We'll have a second go at it. Loney, if he can pick it up. Does very well. Tried to flick it out. Brown in hard at it.
He's like a knife, Daniel Ward, but he gets that ball on the rebound. And whilst we didn't see him clear at that time, he just charges through, and he's a beautiful kick.
And Nathan Brown is certainly showing that he's prepared to put his body on the line. Lode's got the big thump. Armstrong wasn't convincing with the punch, but he tapped it out in front of Uze, which was good football because it's all Melbourne out on the outer wing. If a ball bounces nicely for them, they'll have plenty of time to go forward. It does. Whelan looks up. Little short kick to Armstrong. Armstrong has now got the lead from Robertson. Holds it up, waits for the one from Green. That's where he's going. Green will have the sit from behind. Up he goes. Couldn't quite hold the mark. It just faded on its trajectory. Hard one to mark those ones. Here's a chance now for Neitz if he can flick it back inside. Can't do so. Lekis over the top. He has another go. Neitz just stands there. Over the top. Good play. Walsh. Armstrong. A little bit too cute on that occasion. As Gary said, you just want to bang it on the boot sometimes from in there. Joel Smith out wide. Rawlings. Hawks need one before the bell. Rawlings kicks out of bounds on the full. And Melbourne have been resolute in the last 5 minutes.
I asked the question, Hawthorn, and just at the minute they've got a few answers. And he might have a question asked of him at the end of the game, that boundary umpire.
Was that not out of bounds on the full by a long way?
And he touched off the boot, could be the only reason.
It's the boundary umpire from the 79 grand final.
Cox. Lotes. Here they go, the Hawks. Long ball. Spider's under it. He'll fly. No win in the air. Williams at the back for Hawthorn. Back to Everett. Left foot snap. It's there. It's in the post.
What a great play.
It was, indeed. So,
Let's have a look at this one, boys.
by a metre.
You might be doing Kyabram Tongala next week.
13-point advantage for the Demons at the 25-minute mark of the third.
Well, if Everett had a kick the goal, he would have been. Because that could have well turned the game. Out wide. Bizzle.
He's off.
Inside 3 minutes left in this third term. It's very important for Melbourne not to concede as Hawthorn did in the last quarter, in the last couple of seconds. Whelan kicks it out in front of Brown. Sits for him nicely. With his tense touch, Nathan Brown kicks forward. It's a beauty to Green. And Green marks. Now, it'll be... Graham's trying to sneak a few metres here. And in fact, he has anyway. And the umpire still should pull him back another 2 metres from where he is. It's his 5th mark, Green. Now, from 45, the distance is still a factor here.
Wind has dropped marginally, I think.
Well, he was able to draw it from left to right, Brian, on his last kick, which was probably another 15 metres to his left. But he is a beautiful kick of the footy, and he just might put us all back in our box.
2 goals, 3 he's kicked. So the left footer comes in. He gets in that nice angle. That one fades on his trajectory. Just a little bit too far out. Probably got to be 40, don't you, and inside those 250 marks to get the nice shot at the goal.
Nathan Brown, Gary, he's been able with Whelan going up to the middle to be able to continue to have an impact at the club in defence.
Yeah, he's a very good player, Jared, and underrated, but will make a name for himself, much the way Bruce has.
Bruce, there he is. Handball out in a tight situation to McDonald, 60 metres from home. Low daisy cutter. Robertson picked it up superbly on the half volley. Shuffled the handball to Heffernan's got time. McDonald, composure needed here. Thought about the handball, comes back on the left. Just happy to sit it on the head of Neitz. He was being held. He was being held, but he marked it anyway, David Neitz.
I think Nick Rewald needs to have a look at David Neitz, the way he uses his legs. Look at the strength of the legs there in these man-on-mans now. Saw Rewald yesterday. He wanted to get up, get the centre of gravity up in the air, and he lost his strength. He's not as big and as developed as this bloke at the moment, but what a role model in a one-on-one marking contest.
This for the match, Brian?
David Neitz for goal number 4, 20-point lead. Hay, his opponent, still no possessions. Kick on its way is there. Neitz has 4 goals.
There's a great shot, Gary, of Neitz just keeping his centre of gravity low, so he's really maintaining that strength with his legs. And Johnny Hay, he just couldn't get around the big fella.
Yeah, and it was a good decision by James McDonald in the end to just say get it in there and give him a chance. And what you're saying there is exactly right. It was the initial shrug.
Just props, bends at the hips, bends at the knees, keeps the strength low.
So again, the Demons score in the last minute of the quarter is going to make it tough for Hawthorn now. They trail by 20 points and they've got the job ahead of them.
Can I just say, Jonathan Hay hasn't had a touch, right? David Neitz has kicked 4 goals, taken however many marks and been a very good player. Why would you not move Hay now and try and get something out of him?
Try and make hay while the sun shines, Gary.
Yes, in this fading light. Yeah.
Crawford comes out wide. Tallis, well, they need one with 22 seconds left. He kicks from 50 metres out. Tallis's kick is to the goal square. The Demons are smart enough to get back. They know that when Hawthorn get within 50, they're going to go long to the square. There's a chance for Godfrey. Got it out with 5 seconds remaining. They're going to get through here, the Demons. Uze. They lead by 20 points at three-quarter time, and that's going to be a very, very handy lead at the MCG in any game this year, kicking to the putt road in the final term. So at three-quarter time, it's Melbourne 12-9, 81, Hawthorn 9-7, 61, the D's by 20.
Welcome back to the MCG. The Hawks have got some work to do if they want to open their account in round 1 of the AFL season. They are 20 points down at three-quarter time and will be kicking to the vacant Ponsford Street end of the ground, which has been pretty hard to deal with throughout the course of tonight. That makes sense, Brian? You're laughing at me.
The street there.
Ponsford stand, that's the...
street did I say? I beg your pardon.
It's the Collingwood Social Club stand in, boys.
Yes, behind the goals. Your view won't be great, but you'll be well looked after out down there. And
the wind has dropped off a bit, and it's not impossible to score that in now, I don't reckon.
No, we saw Brad Green kick a nice goal from probably around the 35-40 metre mark. And
Well, actually, Brian, you say that the wind's dropped off. I think the wind has switched and is actually going down that way. So Robbo is the man down there. He's got the Edward Beale wig on. What's going on, Robbo? Which way's your fringe blowing?
Well, boys, all I can say is that the wind is still gusting and pretty solid going down to the punt row end, but it's coming in surges. All of a sudden it's not there, and then bang, it powers through the middle. So that's one factor. Neil Danaher, the thing that he really honed in on was the fact that they've got to get the ball to the ground in the back line and then run it all the way up. That's the main instruction from the Melbourne huddle.
You haven't had a spray at three-quarter time, have you, Robbo, on the hair?
No, mate, I'm
it's sitting nicely.
Sitting beautifully, mate.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cocky at the moment, but it's...
there's something about Mary in it.
I thought that's what they did in that quarter. I thought Melbourne's run through the middle was quite superb, and that's what Hawthorn are going to have to do if they're going to kick goals at the far end. I'd be surprised if Melbourne just didn't get the ball long to Neitz, long to wide or green, as they did in the second term.
The Demons by 20 points starting the last quarter. Neitz has got 4 goals. Rawlings 2 for the Hawks. The Hawks up against it, kicking to the old Ponsford stand end into the breeze.
They've done well in their hit-outs and clearances, Hawthorn. That is one area that they would be pretty well pleased with.
Campbell Brown with that groin problem there, sitting next to Tony Liberatore as Loney fires a long ball in. High ball, Everett spent a lot of time forward. Handball to Barlow, right foot snap, goes deep into the pocket. Rawlings marks.
Impossible.
Now,
has to get on with something else rather than a shot at goal here. It's just not an option, trying to kick a goal from there.
we'll be looking for the right foot banana or the left foot snap or the pass off.
You make me look silly, I guess.
Go the boomerang.
Well, a boomerang, I suppose, as Brian's been saying all day,
Some bit of work on it.
Yeah, give him as good a chance as any.
Let's see what he does. Jade Rawlings looking like the boomerang. Too early on the rang side of things. And kicked it out of bounds on the full.
Not enough boomer. In fact, gee, that's not bad. He's actually given that a good bit of work. Didn't even get to the goalpost. So there you go. The Hawks missed the target altogether. The wind from the flags at Olympic Park is actually going towards the city at the moment, so it may not play as big a role. We'll find out in the course of this quarter. Won't matter though. Melbourne keep control of it. Jeff White's been pretty good. He's got the ball now with his 11th mark. He kicks it forward off the hands of the pack. Robertson's tried hard all day. He's been good at ground level as well. This time though, McCabe.
Oh, that might be a free.
Went past him. Umpire says throw it in.
I reckon the umpire, if he paid that free in front of the Hawthorn members down there, may well have been lynched. Even in a day of harmony, they would have done it harmoniously.
Hawthorn supporters were reaching into the picnic basket to find something to throw at the umpire. As the ball goes over the line, does it? No. Whelan keeps it in. From just outside 50, he kicks to the square. Neitz again has been magnificent and kicks the goal.
I tell you what, on a day where we've talked about how hard it has been to score goals, 5 is an outstanding return with still most of the last quarter to be played. He's up against a big strong body in Jonathan Hay. Time to move Hay for mine, but Whelan close to best on ground. He has had a super day.
We'll love to have a look if we can at that Whelan from behind.
Thought it was out?
I reckon he dragged it back over the line.
The Coleman medalist of 2002, David Neitz, has 5 goals to this stage of the game. He is now the leading goal kicker of round 1. As we go back to the middle, and you think that another goal by the Demons would see the end of the Hawks' opportunities here to win this game. Ball in the middle. Armstrong has worked pretty hard all day. Lekis. Mitchell's in there, and so is Paccioni for the Hawks.
Well, it is a great start to the season for David Neitz. I remember 12 months ago he started with a bang here against the Hawks. Just have a look at this, see where the Whelan was out. Is he out, Gerard?
Well, it looks to me as if he's out there, and then
he's in the third row.
Yeah, bear in mind that umpire from 1979 has been doing just an ordinary job.
He has had an ordinary day, that far.
Paccioni, handball intercepted by Wheatley. He goes wide with the kick. Danger looming here for the Hawks as Bruce marks on centre wing. They've kicked 4 out of the last 5 goals, the Demons.
He wasn't a goal umpire on grand final day as well, was he?
He could well have been. In fact, I reckon when he jumped over a couple of rows of seats there, that gave it away.
Free kick against Heffernan. Go to Dixon. Short ball. What has Dixon had much of the ball today?
He's only had 6.
6 stats for he as the ball goes inside 50. White working back on it a little. Handball over the top, drawing. Uze, they're away again here, the Demons, as they run forward.
Thanks, Brian. Ferguson's kick was a good one. He's had a good day, Ferguson, too, for his first game.
Yep.
This bloke's had it on a string. Whelan, the wrecker. 18th touch for Whelan. Ball goes forward now. Robertson.
Good hands.
Beautiful play. They call him Bruce. They call it a goal. 2 to Cameron Bruce.
Bit of class in that build-up, Gerard.
I was pleased to see that. I don't think handball is one of Russell's great strengths, but you've got to give them instinctively. You've got good players around you. They're going to feed you. And this is one he just had to give, and it was there, and away he went. And Cameron the Bruce is an excitement machine.
And there's some explosion there from Robertson too. Dixon was close enough, but he's got some power in his legs, so they've got some options up forward, Melbourne.
32-point advantage for the Demons, 4 goals straight for them. You would think the nail is in the coffin right now for the Hawks. Ball in the middle. White. Lotes has done most of the ruck work with the exception of the first quarter, as Spider Everett has been forward the rest of the time. Ward marks. Immediately goes into attacking mode out towards White.
He's been great, Jeff White.
Gathers the ball, genuine half forward, kicking to the punt road in the Demons. Wheatley. Ball, kick to MacDonald, and the mark or free kick has been paid. About 75 metres out from the Demon punt road goal. Neitz on the lead. Here it goes. His hands have been very good today. Got a bad bounce, dropped a little short. Dixon under pressure. Robertson will make him earn it. McCabe. Leckus now. Needs a good bounce. Waits for it. The opportunity here now to kick to Rawlings, who's come a long way down from the forward end.
So Rawlings now at half-back flank. The Hawks, well, it would probably be out of their reach a win here, but they've really got to fight on to show that they're fair income, to give them something to go home with the fans. They are undermanned, no doubt about it. Loney's kick was a shocker, straight down the throat of Uze.
Trying to pinpoint again to a target where a goal couldn't be kicked from. It's just not an option.
I think it's important, the next 10, as you said, Eddie, because I think Hawthorn have battled well. They've got something to grab and take home at the moment, but if they just let it fall away, it's going to be a shocker.
Bruce to Heffernan. Heffernan's kick to Neitz, put up the one hand. Hay, still without a stat. And now with a sore chest from being cleaned up by Whelan.
Free kick.
He'll get one here. Well, it's a mini game here the last 15 minutes. Hawthorn need to do something to give their fans something to take home. And the Demons really want to kick their heads, and he didn't even get his kick in the end. He's giving it off to Joel Smith.
I want to ask the question. Matthew Richardson played Friday night and attracted a lot of criticism because he did get the footy. I mean, Jonathan Hay's they've got to have a look at him now, surely. He's had an ordinary day.
All-Australian in 2001, Rising Star nominee in 98. In his 104th game, Jonathan Hay today. Reese for the Hawks goes forward. Almost a mark taken by Lotes. Mitchell has been hard at it all day. Comes out to Everett. Everett has a flying shot at the goal and misses everything altogether, except the cameraman. Got him.
You understand what the logic I'm saying on that, Jared? I mean, forwards attract so much attention and criticism, whereas a guy up the other end of the ground has got 3 donuts next to his name.
Yep. And even if you look at the same end of the ground, Tarrant and Rocker on Friday night weren't fantastic. The difference is the team won and was able to cover a couple of average performances, I guess. Armstrong, Brown, kicks out wide, Whelan flies, couldn't mark. 2 Hawthorn players here. Chance Bateman, little left foot kick, high. Everett's going to have to work hard. Wheatley also worked hard.
Goal.
Adrian Cox shrugged off the first, the second. Armstrong with a quick give to Uze. Now to the lead of Neitz. 60 metres out. Neitz turns around immediately. Russell Robertson the target. Collision football here. Graham went high. Free kick will go Hawthorn's way. Dixon.
What do you say, Jared?
Look, Gary, as much as Melbourne supporters must love Russell Robertson taking the fly when he does, that's not good footy. That's just playing for yourself and not playing percentages.
You blokes have given up the romance of the game.
Particularly, if we have a look at it again, Ed, I know what you're saying, but
You go for the fly when it's legitimate, everybody loves it.
He had a Melbourne player, like he's a 2-on-1 there. He's got a Melbourne player there at the bottom.
Yeah, you're right. 32 points up, Brian. What would you have done there?
Would have done exactly what Russell Robinson did.
And you would have whacked someone along the way.
Exactly. Graham's got it.
Probably would have taken it though, Ed.
Well, the Coleman medalist from 1985. What a
Six.
Sorry. Should have won it in 85.
Yes.
They didn't kick it to you properly. That was the problem.
Didn't get it enough.
Loney on the boundary line. Kicks it up to the forward 50 and over the line and out of bounds it goes. We'll have another throw in. And Spider's cleaned up the umpire here. Let's have a look. Oops.
Oh, I tell you what.
We got him a couple of weeks a few years ago.
Well, I don't think there's anything in it. In fact, I think the umpire didn't clear the line properly.
No, Ed, he should have seen the umpire. I mean, he took 4 paces before he ran into him.
Yeah.
That was that rule that came in a couple of years ago, which was
2 years ago, you're right, it would have been 2 weeks.
very controversial indeed.
Here's a chance for the Hawks. No, it's
Destroyed
not.
one man's career, that rule. And the Bulldogs.
Todd Curley.
I did too.
Ball now kicked out towards the wing position. We might have another look at it. I reckon Spider was eyes for the ball, to be honest.
Yeah, accidental, no doubt, but so was Todd Curley's, according to Todd.
Well, Melbourne have absolutely run them ragged, the Hawks, today, and they're going to, I think, give them a nice old touch-up here as the ball comes up towards Neitz.
Recovery.
Got it forward. Here's the chance. 2-on-1. McDonald can run into the open goal. It spills nicely. Green kicks his third.
This is a handy weapon to have behind your number 1 weapon.
Brad Green?
Green coming in behind Neitz is dangerous.
He's a terrific natural full forward in that he leads very well, times his leads well, and he's a beautiful finisher. So
What about his recovery here?
yeah, and getting boot the ball was just the important thing. James McDonald only knows one way, and that is straight at it. He calls the spill. That's a nice polished finish.
5 straight goals for the Demons, sees them lead by 38 points. Green's got 3, Bruce has got 2, Neitz has got 5. All of their key forwards having a say in proceedings here today. White, beautiful. You heard Gerard, he liked it. Matthew Whelan just ran straight at the ball. Cox ended up with it. That was Adrian. Piccioni through the middle now. A chance to attack inside 50 for the Hawks again, and Rawlings got Bizzle under the ball and has marked 25 out.
Now, I know that the game is effectively over, but I'd like to see this one again. And I just think umpires sometimes... No, it might have been okay. He had 2 hands on his back. I'm not sure he shoved him too hard. Well, he did. I mean, you can't use your hands in a marking contest. So
Hawthorn's leading marker of last year. Kicked 2 first-quarter goals here at the MCG today. Comes in for goal number 3 and has got it, I think. He has indeed. 3 to Rawlings.
And they deserve that, the Hawks, because I don't believe they deserve a thumping. They've worked too hard, and they've worked pretty much as a team. They haven't had many superstars in the day that come in missing a lot of their tall forwards, their strike power. They'll be disappointed with this result, no doubt. There's plenty of individuals that can play better, but as a group, I reckon they can go in and at least say that they've had a fair crack at it.
So Rawlings' goal ends a run of 5 consecutive goals for Melbourne since the 20-minute mark of the 3rd term. Everett now out of the centre, gets a little handball going. Loney went without it, he's grabbed. Another ball up, no umpire said let it go. It spills out wide. So the race is on. Picked up, almost picked up by Tallis. Works his way into it. Good play by Uze, got it out wide. There's Uze, so it wasn't him who got it out. Uze kicks it forward on this occasion, and the mark's been taken by Bateman. It would have been Godfrey got it out. Loney this time. Kickers out to Barlow. Barlow at half-forward flank. Now he thumps it long, looking for Loates. Loates wrestling. Now, how could he take that mark? Somebody had to be holding. Yes, the umpire's paid it against Ferguson, and Loates will line up 35 metres out direct, well, pretty much directly in front. A bit more of an angle now as he comes back, but should be able to put this through. Frees have been 18 apiece.
well, he has rucked pretty well, David Loates. He's got his hands on it at centre bounces pretty well.
50-metre penalty for mouthing off means this will be a certainty to the Hawks, and the margin will come back to 26 points.
Pretty fair pickup. I know the Loates has taken the free kick and will kick the goal, but Ferguson has been a big pickup for Melbourne.
Yeah, he was picked up at 66 in the draft. Loates kicks the goal. It's 26 points.
And what they wouldn't want to do, I mean, Gerard, you declared that Hawthorn need to finish off and get something out of it. 10 minutes to go, what Melbourne would want to do is just shut up shop, take the foot off the accelerator, and either A, fall across the line by a small margin, or B, get rolled at the end of the day. I mean, there's still plenty of footy left in this. You couldn't see it. But if they throw caution to win, Crawford's had an average day. If he gets busy, who knows?
All right, the Hawks starting to clean the scoreboard up a little bit with the last 2 goals after the first 3 of this final quarter went to the Demons. And they look like they were going to go on with it, the Demons. They've stopped a little in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Umpire crash again.
Hodge, Leckus, Reese. Handball to no one in particular. Ward was happy to accept, though, and bang it back inside 50. Dixon did well to mark. Dixon elects the southern stand side where he finds a free Everett. They've got a few numbers running with the ball here. Hawthorn, Everett does it himself and Rawlings marks. Long way out. No hope of scoring from there. So he'll bang it long to the square. It's an ugly kick. Mark almost taken by Hodge. Ground level now, Ferguson scraps with it. Liam Challey, spinning move out of trouble. Walsh drawing handball over the top to Williams. On to Uze, who was one of the best users by foot in the competition. This time, not effective though, as McCabe repels, and he would have been happy to find the boundary line, I would have thought, but it didn't happen for him.
Beautiful play by Whitley to McDonald. Guess who? That man, Bruce. Point on this occasion.
And that is a bad miss. They needed one just to settle things down and perhaps take away the impetus that Hawthorn have been able to manufacture. Have a look at the crash. Umpire here. Oh, Paul Wheatley it was.
He pulled up a bit too.
Might have been blindsided by his opponent, but I mean, it'll be back on the agenda.
I think he pulled up though.
I know, absolutely no doubt. I don't think either of them were deliberate, but you'll find that it is back on the agenda, I think, tomorrow.
Please, Gary.
You've put it on.
Please, Gary, don't let us go through another year of that.
Well, it stopped for 2 years, Brian, and all of a sudden it's back on. But anyway, we've got a game in our hands.
They have indeed, as Rawlings with a sweeping handball out to Loney, who balked the shadow, then ran to the boundary line. Got it off to Rawlings now. Rawlings from 55 out. Another mongrel punt forward will come off as Reese takes the mark. Was it Hodge?
I tell you what, it is still very much alive, and they have stopped Melbourne at the moment, whether it's by design or they've got pretty content with themselves, but there's another one of those kicks that just floated in any old fashion, and the dangerous play was the one at the back, the one most unlikely.
Jade Rawlings, 13 marks, the most on the ground, once again getting the ball into the forward 50, and Hodge, who's a beautiful kick of the football, can really make this a race to the finish now all of a sudden. Puts it through. We've got a game with 8 minutes left.
Just his forward kick, Luke Hodge. He started well, and we were singing his praises after a couple of bullet passes. One to Angelo Leckus, I can remember, Gary, in the first quarter, but he's been pretty quiet since then.
Well, they've just got to, I think, throw caution to the wind here, pardon the pun, but really just get it on, bang it in, and see whether this Melbourne backline, it's been pretty resolute all day, can stand up for the last 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, the Hawks are within 21 points. They need 4 goals, thereabouts, to hit the front, and they've got about 8 minutes to do it. Everett, Crawford, they're running in numbers through the middle. Desperate all of a sudden, the Hawks. Crawford, there's another one of Gary's preferred options to go inside 50. The Mung. Rawlings traps it.
Laugh you may. Laugh you may.
I'm with you.
But again, it was almost Rawlings that took the mark first because the forward reacts the quickest.
Another clearance to Hawthorn. They have dominated. I think it's 16-6 it is now.
3 straight goals for the Hawks. Here's a 4th. Leckus.
Yes, it's in.
I think he's nailed it. 2 for Leckus. 4 straight for the Hawks. And all of a sudden, we've got a 15-point margin in favour of the Demons.
And it starts in the middle again and around the ground with these clearances that Hawthorn have dominated at, and Loach has been wonderful in as much as he gets his hand to the ball. I think White's been one of the better players on the ground, around the ground as a ruck rover type, but any stop play is a dangerous play for Melbourne at the moment, and right now the ball will come back into the middle of the ground. This is a big clearance right here. Jeff White has got to get up.
Centre clearances for the match. 16 Hawthorn, 6 Melbourne. Hit-outs 39 Hawthorn, 17 Melbourne. Spider and Loads have dominated, and Big Spider's back in there. 15 points a difference. Can the Hawks cause a boil over? That time it went to White. Lee and Shelley got the handball out. White had a second go at it. Spills for Loney. No, it doesn't. Here's Johnson from 55 out. He thumps one long, but it's over the line, out of bounds on the full. with 7 minutes and 4 seconds left on the clock. The Hawks need to kick 3 goals. They're going to start from as far away as you can possibly get from their goal.
Jeff White to the bench.
First kick coming up there for Hay. It was a good one.
Not a good time to make that change, was it? There's Spider Everett out there on his own.
Yep. I think he had the height advantage on that occasion against Armstrong. Leckers knocks it forward. He's grabbed without the ball. Knows it, the umpire. Brown did it well. Tallis did it just as well. We're going to throw in at half-forward flank. Game on!
And Hawthorn have done a lot better, Gary, since they've dropped the spare man from defence and gone man-on-man all over the ground with a regulation forward line. 5 players, 6 players up there.
Melbourne members in the stands readjust their seat for the ride home because the Hawks are coming inside the Hawthorn forward 50. It's not the preferred end of scoring, but they've kicked the last 4 goals straight with a lift in intensity.
You wonder where it's been all day. It's been a good, solid game, but this intensity's only come about the last 5 or 10 minutes, particularly from a Hawthorn point of view.
15-point advantage for the Demons. Just 20 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. Barlow pushes his man off the ball. McCabe went and got it. Gave a handball off. Williams got it to Loney on his preferred left side. He lines up. It's 5 straight for the Hawks. And they're back within 9 points.
And I'm just looking at the Melbourne runner, Rodney Bridger, run down to David Neitz, the captain, who's been such a good player. He hasn't had a sniff because he hasn't seen the footy for the last 5 minutes, and in that period of time they've kicked 5 goals. So whether or not that change will be made remains to be seen. They've got Jeff White on the boundary, I think, at the moment. And Bizzle on the boundary. They've got Hawthorn in the box seat, in the driver's seat.
Surely you get White and Bizzle back on, do you not?
I would have thought.
Believe it or not, boys, at the 11-minute mark of this quarter, Melbourne held the biggest advantage of the game. 38 points since then. Goals to Rawlings, Lotes, Hodge, Leckers and Loney with a 9-point ball game. And Mitchell kicks forward again. Barlow's got it! 6 minutes to go. Barlow has got the ball, and he's in the right corridor to kick this. 45 metres, the adrenaline will be pumping. In comes Barlow from 45. The kick is on its way. No worries with the distance, but he's mucked it up to the right-hand side. 8 points the difference.
And it was big Peter Everett, who's been great in the middle, stuck a big knee into Jamar and put it right down the throat of his teammate. I'd be getting White, maybe White's shot, I don't know.
Well, can the D's respond? Good mark by Liam Shelley. The kick forward was an ordinary one. It's going to be punched away. It is from Dixon. It's all Hawthorn here. They can sit for Leckers. Robertson kept going. No, he knocked it out. Leckers has got it. It's up to Watts, full forward. Out comes Rawlings. Up he goes. Couldn't quite hold the mark. Chance now for young Ferguson in his first game. Oh, the handball's along the ground. Picked up by Walsh. Loney trapped it beautifully. Tallis doesn't look. He kicks around towards Lights. He's got it. 45 metres out. He'll take the kick. He's cranked up.
He's cramped. That's one Hawthorn player, and there's 18 Melbourne players cramped. They've stopped running, G.
They have, and there was a lot of spectating then, Jared. They watched the ball go to the boundary line, thought that Walsh was going to get it across the line, didn't recover their position, and if you have a wide shot at that, there were 2 or 3 Hawks lining up.
David Lotes lining up for goal. Has not kicked a goal in his career. Boy, is this a time to kick one, son. The boy from Leopold. For his first goal in senior football, it's on its way. That's 2 set shots that Hawthorn have squandered in the last minute. 7 points the difference here at the MCG. Time ticking away, 24 minutes gone, but there's still plenty of time, as Lou Richards would say, if they're good enough. Brian Taylor to call the action.
Uze with the pressure kick of the day. All of the Hawthorn players have come forward for a packed zone to try and force a disputed ball. Uze told by the umpire to kick it in. Contest immediately. Barlow!
They had no tall. They got White and Bizzle. Well, White's are back on the ground now, but the guys you'd go to are all on the bench.
Everett marks. Barlow centred the ball. Now Spider will have to send this all of 51 or 52 metres.
He's a chance, though, Spider. He's an outstanding kick at goal, and he's a long kick, and that's what's going to be required kicking into this rotten win.
2 goals, 1 today. The Hawks trail by 7 points. This to make it a point. Spider Everett comes in. He's got it right to left. He's done the incredible. He's done something that no one else has done today. Kicked
footy for a long time. Did you see this coming?
Not at all, Gary. This game was over at the 11-minute mark, and the problem is that players out in the ground thought so too. In fact, the ones in the red and the blue did.
Absolutely no question about that. They stopped running. They thought that they'd just enjoy the last 20 minutes. And full credit to Hawthorn. It started in the middle with Blokes and Everett, and they have rallied.
Here we go with 3 minutes and 48 seconds on the clock. Melbourne 15-10, 100. Hawthorn 15-9, 99. Centre clearances this quarter. 6 to the Hawks, 1 to the Demons. Inside 50 for the quarter. 16 Hawthorn, Melbourne 11. This is going to be the vital one. Cox came through. He got it. Godfrey goes to the ground. Poor opportunity. Did he have it? Says the umpire. No. Ooh, I tell you what, the prior opportunity rule had him pinned, in my opinion.
I think he was gone too, Eddie.
He had the handball.
He went for it and he stopped, didn't he?
And that was holding the ball or dropping the ball, whatever you like. Doesn't matter. It's a ball up with 3.5 left on the clock. Well, everything that's happened before in this game stands for nothing now. It's the last 3 minutes and it's all on the line. McDonald takes the ball. Grant goes to ground. Ball spills. Play on, says the umpire. Piccioni tries to get out. All you can see is yellow and brown. Spider Everett gets the kick forward. He's been fantastic. Was Barlow held? No, he wasn't, said the umpire. Williams are high up and under. Hawthorn have got the numbers back here. They've got the mark as well as Dixon has lifted in this last quarter. To the skipper Crawford. He comes out wide. Now it's Adrian Cox who's been very good on a half-back flank. He has a lead out wide from Tallis. Decides to go into the centre of the ground. It sets up nicely. Hodge has been quiet. Good long kick forward. Out they come. Rawlings up from behind. Couldn't hold it. Loney on the right boot kicks. It's going to be untouched on the line. Scores a level. Scores a level at the MCG with 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Hurt Gilly. What a game.
I tell you what. Eddie marked the footy. They still had the point up the sleeve, Jared, and they would have had possession of the footy, but it must have been the thinnest of fingernails.
Bizzle, short to Johnston. So what do Melbourne do now? Do they defend, attack? I think you'll find both sides will have a crack at it in this last 2.5 minutes. Walsh just steadying the ship, trying to work it forward gradually. Neitz has come right up to centre-half forward now.
Boys, Melbourne's mindset, they must be shattered at the moment. They'd be so nervous to turn it over.
Their head would they'd be racing through their head at the moment. They thought they'd let this slip.
Robertson has taken a mark. Or was it McDonald?
Geez,
Robertson cleaned him up.
James McDonald fell on the base of his neck, I reckon. It was a big flip. He flipped himself over. I don't really want to see this on the replay, but he took his legs from under him.
Oh, no.
And that is ugly. That is really ugly.
The trainers are taking every precaution here. They're not moving him until the doctor has had a look.
I'll tell you what, in terms of the most important thing, of course, is that young bloke is all right. He is as good a fella you'll ever find in footy and as tough as anyone going around. Russell Robinson there and that doesn't look good.
Hopefully.
That is the most important thing, Brian. I was just going to say, from a momentum point of view, it puts the skids on Hawthorn there.
Peter Schwab, also one of the
Hopefully the best
in football, and you saw his reaction there from the coach's box. It happened right in front of him there, so let's hope everything's okay.
Hopefully the best result here is a concussion situation where they don't want to move him until he regains consciousness so they can give him information.
Well, we just saw, I think, Brian, him there lift his neck, which he may well have just regained consciousness, but the fact that he can lift his neck has certainly, hopefully, been a good sign.
Never been a draw played between these two sides in 140 matches. I remember a memorable one-point result, I think it was, back in 1996, just before a
merger match.
A merger vote, which will go down as one of the big games. But right now, all our attention is at centre wing with young James McDonald.
Indeed it is. It's given the teams, I guess, an opportunity to get together to just discuss how they will play these last 2 minutes. The runners would have been out there with exactly the time left, as we see an anxious look on all coaching staff from both sides here.
Brian, possession is with Melbourne. I think the free kick is with Melbourne on centre wing as the stretcher is put together for young James McDonald.
And Hawthorn clearly can only have a defensive mindset. They've got to forget about winning this game until they regain possession of the ball. They've got 2 points at the moment. The siren sounds. And where they were 15 minutes ago, 2 points.
Don't get greedy, you reckon?
No, you would have taken it, wouldn't you?
2 points you'd take.
Plenty of time left, though. I mean, 2 minutes is a long time.
But they can't think about a win until they regain possession. It's just defence, defence, defence.
Well, this is how the game's turned around. At the 20-minute mark of the third term, Green kicked a goal to put Melbourne 14 points in front. From then on, they kicked another 2. Neitz kicked one, then at three-quarter time. 2 minutes into the last quarter, Neitz kicked another, Bruce and then Green to go up to 38 points, the biggest margin of the game at the 11-minute mark of the final term. Since then, it's been goals to Rawlings, Lotes, Hodge, Letters, Loney, Everett, and 2 shots on goal. Let's not forget that in the last minute or so for Hawthorn, and scores a level from 38 points down to level pegging, and that all happened in a matter of 15 minutes.
It's been an amazing turnaround, Eddie. I just was watching James McDonald on the stretcher. It appeared at one stage he may have been speaking, but they were speculating a bit. Well, let's have a look at the disposal breakdown, and the Hawthorn have exploded in this last quarter. It's been Melbourne all over the top of them for most of this game, and really even up for the first 5 or 10 minutes of this last quarter. But I tell you what, the Hawks have dominated the ball in the last 15 minutes.
Hawthorn, with 6 straight goals, have brought this game all square with 2 minutes to play exactly. Players, for one of the few times in this situation, would know exactly how much time there is left on the clock.
And look at this, Brian. You've got a centre square press. You've got flooding through the middle of the ground, and you've only got 4 players all huddled together in the forward line.
Travis Johnstone has got the ball in his hands on centre wings. He pumps it straight for Neitz. Neitz in front, Hay. Just the one possession today for Hay. Hawthorn, there he goes, tries to back out of the pack, not successful, ball up.
He might have only had one, but that one was a good one.
Yes.
This is almost the worst situation for Melbourne, to stop play. They have been absolutely smashed in this situation. This is where Neil Danaher would be most nervous.
45 metres from the Demon goal. There are the scores. Level, Graham. All players understand the urgency. Brown had no idea where it was. It come off his head, but he got it the second time. Kick has been marked.
Green,
Beautiful.
Brad Green, best kick in the Melbourne side.
Has got it. Brad Green has kicked 3 goals today. He is the best kick in the Melbourne side, Gary.
Left footer.
3 goals, 4 in fact, and this is a tough kick.
Almost revisits the Steve Kernahan kick of many years ago, where all he had to do was kick a point to get a win.
I think with 1:25 on the clock, you want to kick a goal. Well, obviously a goal, but a point won't be.
Worst case scenario would, well, not worst case, but a very dangerous case
Giving it
scenario.
back to him.
5 metres inside the boundary line. He's got to cover 40 in distance. That won't be a problem. Kick on its way to win the game for Melbourne. He has nailed it. Green's kick 4. There's 1 minute and 8 seconds in the game remaining. Demons back in front.
What a kick.
You want to put that down to pressure kicks, then put that one right up there. There's still plenty of time left, but gee, and the kick from Nathan Brown coming in was nice too. Just good touch, good mark, and what a finish from Brad Green.
Well, that's as good a kick as you see ever goal in a pressure situation.
He liked it from the moment it came off the boot, Ed. He was off celebrating. He knew exactly where it was going. But, hey, this is dangerous here in the middle for Melbourne.
He's kicked the last 2 goals for the Demons, Green, as well. But here they go, the Hawks out of the centre. Reese, Piccioni, the ball comes out to Crawford, out the back. 1 minute left on the clock. They need to kick a goal, the Hawks, obviously, to tie back up the game. Now they go forward, up towards half forward. Spider Everett comes out, couldn't quite get there. It was a nice little touch by Walsh. Good enough. Around the member side he goes. Green dropped that one, but Brown picks it up. Brown, little toe poke, just the 15. Yes, says the umpire.
About 8 metres.
And Johnson will wind back the clock. And I think Peter Schwab is resigned to the fact that this game has slipped away in the last minute.
Got to go down the line here.
Well, they're valiant in their comeback, the Hawks. He's gone down the line, all right. Absolutely down the line.
That's as good a kick, not as good as Brad Green's, but with 30 seconds to go, it's just in the perfect spot.
Well, Hawthorn
Swabby can't believe it.
kicked 6 goals to get right back into this game, and then Green has just pulled one out at the end to get the points for the Demons, you'd say. With 15 seconds left, Loney gets it away. Tallis's kick was smothered over the line and out of bounds. 9 seconds. Well, there's still time.
There's a game in 1987 at Waverley Park. The ball was being kicked in from fullback with 9 seconds to go with Melbourne in the grand final.
Exactly. And the Hawks won that one. They won't win this one, though. With 5 seconds remaining, this has been a memorable opening to the 2003 season for the Melbourne Football Club, who have won by a goal. Oh, what a game of football. Final scores at the MCG. A disappointed Schwabby walks off the ground. Peter Schwab, Melbourne 16-10, 106. Hawthorn 15-10, 100. And Neil Danaher has earned his money this afternoon.
I'm not sure what Neil Danaher's attitude would be to that. He would be bitterly disappointed with the fact that they blew the opportunity to chalk up a pretty solid, reasonable victory, and the way that they perhaps stopped concentrating. And Ian Dicker and Peter Schwab, well, I think they'd be pretty disappointed with Hawthorn as well.
David Neitz kicked 5 goals, 1 today. He was the outstanding forward, no doubt, and a combination with Brad Green resulting in 9 goals for the Melbourne side. And the Melbourne skipper, the Coleman medalist, who sits atop the goal kicking in round 1 already, is with Michael Roberts.
Well, thanks, Ed. Just a quick I just ran up the race, and James McDonald is actually talking. He's got his eyes open. He knows what's going on. They haven't moved his neck. He's still in a brace, but that's good news for the Melbourne Footy Club.
Yeah, no, it's great. He's a great little goer, Jones. Always puts his point on the line, so it's good to see he's okay.
How tough is it out here? Seriously, especially in that early game when you had to adjust. A couple of your shots from the pocket in the Ponsford end, pretty diabolical in the end.
Yeah, it was hard work down there, but we just have to get used to it. And hard work though.
Take five goals any day.
Yeah, look, it was good. It was good. The boys are good. Very disappointed in the last quarter, but we go to work during the week and work on that.
Have you ever played on a bloke who's had no possessions on you, though?
Didn't get one, did you? Oh, well, that's good. Yeah.
But you've got to take the victory the first up.
Yeah, look, it's great to get up to 4 points, and we're happy with that, and just got to stop that last quarter fade out.
Well done, David. No worries.
Michael Roberts with the Demons skipper. David Neitz 5 goals. Jonathan Hay must have snuck one sneaky possession somewhere along the line.
Got one in got a free kick, I think, in the last quarter there, or from a throw in. Gary, to your good news there, obviously, on James McDonald, that he's up and going. So hard when you see a player go down like that, but as silly as it sounds, it might have come at the right time for the team if everything's okay, because it really slowed up the momentum that Hawthorn had. Yeah,
it was a sickening incident, no doubt about that, and we are glad that he's up and around, but it did help. The Demons prevail after round 1 by 6 points here at the MCG.